In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Red?
Gone are the days of Pogs and Cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things, and it's called Best Gen because all of us on the panel are mas o menos from the same generation, and we think that our generation was better than yours, because not because we're better people, but our movies certainly were. So strap on in and prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce upon the days of yore, while simultaneously complaining about the utter filth that Hollywood keeps pumping out of its sludge pipes on a daily basis. And oh boy, we've got a big show for you tonight. And already David is trying to drag my name through the mud. Look,
are you denying it?
Here's the thing. Technically, this is true, but also it's not an excuse. I was sitting around 7 p.m. on the dime. Nobody's here. Let me check my emails to make sure I sent out the email, and then sitting in my drafts, but oops, I forgot to hit the send button. I hit send, I sent out a text, and what David is leaving out of the story is the fact that he's had a permanent link. I don't send a new link every week.
I had a new computer, and
David,
you haven't been sending the
every single email. Every week, it's the same link.
Hey, 2 weeks
the
ago,
email serves as a reminder. The email serves as a reminder that I've got it. There's a show.
We'll see next week. I'm going to use this link that I pinned, and if it doesn't work, it's your fault. Because 2 weeks ago, that's what I did, and it didn't work.
Yes, we shall see if the trolls come back for a visit. What I need, I need moderators.
Did you get trolls last week?
Yeah, we had a big troll.
It
was fun at first, and I don't care. Here's my policy on like banning people is I don't think it's a good practice. Like I'm pro free speech. People can say stupid things about me. I have thick skin. It doesn't bother me at all. But when it turned into like spam so much that I couldn't read the comments from the people who wanted to be here, that's when it became a problem. So we'll see. I need moderators. So if you want to be a moderator for my channel, that'd be nice. Then I wouldn't have to worry about banning dumb trolls. So what's new? Evil's Bane. I've never seen you in chat before, so you're what's new. There is lots of news, though, on that note. A lot to go through, but we're joined by David from Shelf Help Gaming, the usual, and Charles from Arkansas, I guess.
I'm thinking of getting a channel eventually, but it's way in the future.
They keep saying that. Angry Mex is probably not joining tonight. He's moving houses, and I don't think Jared is coming on this week.
Yeah.
But there's lots of news. We can just jump into what's new. We got some wonderful people in the chat. We got Mark Clark. This is my shocked face when we start the show late. Taking lessons from Steve. I taught that young man everything he knows. Steve took lessons from me on how to start a show late. Yeah, we'll see if the trolls come back. It'll be fun. And childless Jared is missing.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Both Jareds are childless, but it's been a while since we've had bearded Jared on the show.
Trio of trespassers. Yeah, it is. Okay. Oh, sorry. You asked last week, and something happened. I didn't respond. I did watch Kings. I watched maybe like 4 episodes, and I liked it quite a bit.
That's the modern day David and Goliath.
Yeah, it's what's his face as it's like King Saul.
Oh, I know what's his face.
Yeah, he's got a
like
good
that
face. No, I liked it quite a bit. It's got a very, very young. Yes, Mark, I saw your Sydney Sweeney posts. We'll get to that.
Oh boy.
Okay. Mark Clark is celebrating 31 months of membership. Mark is our channel member emeritus, the first channel member we ever had. He's also the first Patreon subscriber that we got. And if you too would like to become a channel member, it comes with some great perks, like much like a papal indulgence. If you become a channel member for 99 cents a month, it's an extravagant fee. You will receive the title of also technically becoming a Mexican, and then you can't be criticized by the woke left. So that's all it takes. You're absolved of your sins. I mean, your racism, and then you can say whatever you want online. And if they call you a racist, your response is, "Hey, man, I'm technically a Mexican." But yeah, be like Mark Clark. Become a channel member. So, news. Lots of news. Since we asked what's new. Kings was fun. I haven't finished it. Planning on going back and watching it, but I've been super busy this week. I haven't been home at all this week. I've been helping my dad build a ramp for our grandma who can't walk anymore.
Yeah,
so,
it's coming along. I saw it.
It looks good.
It does look pretty good. We're not done yet, and Dad's done most of the work. And I've been driving back and forth from Salt Lake and wasting all of my days there. So, news. There's gonna be a whole bunch of Avatar stuff in the future. I mean, we already know that seasons. We already know that seasons 2 and 3 of the live-action Avatar have been renewed. I didn't like season 1, but
it wasn't the worst.
I didn't finish it.
Yeah,
I couldn't finish. It was boring.
It's just pointless. Why would you renew? Why would you remake something that's perfect? It's just to have it in a realistic style, and that's completely unnecessary because the animation is a large part of the charm of the original show. I don't get why you need to remake it.
Yes, but it was also a barrier to entry for someone like me that was a snob about anime,
Well, don't be a snob about anime.
Well, yeah, I got past it because of Avatar.
Okay. Fair
But
enough.
I didn't want to watch it for the longest time because I could not stand the anime style of drawing. So
Yes, we're going to get to there's another animated series as well. So I didn't like the Netflix show. I thought it was pretty bad. But we're getting 2 more seasons of that. I'm pretty sure they're filming it consecutively, right? So there's not going to be as big of a gap between that. If you liked it, good for you. It was cheesy for me. And I kind of disagree. I love the show. Yeah, some folks can't deal with non-live action. I'm not one of those folks. I can watch lots of animation, but some people are adverse to it. Especially older people, like David, are very... Like, I'm never going to get my mom to watch an animated TV show.
yeah,
Even if it's fantastic. But I could get her to watch a Netflix show. I'm not going to ask her to because I didn't like it.
Fair enough. Okay, you might have a point. I think
we don't talk about Dragon Ball Z live action adaptation, okay? That's not something we bring up on the stream. Careful. It could get you banned. Just kidding. Okay, the point is, we're getting 2 more seasons of that. Whatever. Oh, I disagree that the show's perfect. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. I can't count how many times I've watched it from start to finish. Sometimes I would just listen to it, like while driving. I would just like play it on like my Zune, and
Yeah.
just like go through the speakers of my car as I like drove for like an hour to school.
That's weird.
And I would just listen but I'd watched the series like 8 times already, so I just like knew it by heart. I would just listen to the story. That was before I knew about audiobooks. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've
what-
watched the show. I don't think it's perfect, especially season 1. There's a lot of filler in season 1.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the argument, why can't, I don't think it should be adapted, it's perfect. I don't think that's a valid argument. I think there are things that you could improve in an adaptation. You could make it tighter. But that's not what they did. They just added dumb stuff. So
Yeah, maybe you might have a point there.
So you saw on Prophet of the Dragon last night. You'd be much more interested in going back to the second Avatar and seeing the realization from the world that they are reborn instead of going after Korra. Yeah. There's going to be... So, what it is, there's 2 more seasons of Netflix. We're getting a movie. I think we're getting 3 movies following Aang after the original series.
Okay.
And because theatrical, and then we're getting a new series following a new Avatar.
Oh wow.
Who's a female Earthbender, and then there's some kind of water series. Is that if that's a continuation of Korra? Who knows? I thought Korra was kind of dumb, and then something with a firebender as well. So, there's also a game.
Interesting.
There's lots of Avatar stuff coming in the future. Movies, TV, games, live action, animation. Just if you're an Avatar fan, it's either a good or bad time to be an Avatar fan, because if it's good, then it's a good time, and if it's not, then you're going to be pulling your hair out. So
Yeah.
if it goes the way of Korra, I liked season 1 of Korra. The other seasons,
I
just
agree.
got
Season 1 was good.
progressively worse and worse. Season 3 was
never
better
saw
than
them.
season 3 was better than season 2, but seasons 2 and 4 were awful. So
Don't remember. I don't think I ever watched 4, but I don't remember after 1 pretty much.
Michael J. Fox is going to be acting again
That's awesome.
on Shrinking, which is an okay show. And like season 1 was pretty good. Season 2 was mediocre. Like it had good stuff and also just some dumb stuff that they shoehorned in.
Yeah, I'll watch it for Michael J. Fox though. That's awesome.
It's a pretty charming show just for the what's his name? Jason. It's not Jason Statham.
Seagal or whatever his name is.
It's not Steven Seagal. Is it Jason Seagal? Is that his name? Is it Jason Seagal and Harrison Ford? I don't know. They're pretty fun. I really liked season 1. Season 2 was okay. But if Michael J. Fox is
it
joining
is
the cast,
Jason Seagal.
is Jason Seagal?
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah. Okay.
For
It just
once.
sounds wrong.
Yeah.
He's just got. It's just 2 better names.
Yeah.
You take the worst part of both of them. So, I'm absolutely going to be watching season 3. Can't wait to see Michael J. Fox on screen again, because wow, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It was not nearly as bad as Ted Lasso season 3. Season 2 was watchable. There's just some annoying stuff. You're like it kind of just focused more on the drama and less on the comedy. But I would love to see a similar Wan art style showing the second Avatar Reborn. Yeah, that could be fun. There's tons of Avatar lore. They could explore it indefinitely, you know?
Yeah.
For sure.
If they do it good. I mean, heck, do like an Avatar Roku show.
Heck yeah. I've watched a Roku show.
Yeah. Harrison Ford is really good in this show. I like him a lot in it. But yeah, so that's interesting. More news. HBO Max is back.
Because they changed it to just Max.
Yeah, they got rid of Max. So it was HBO Go and then HBO Now and then HBO Max. And then they said, no, now it's just Max. And now they're going back to HBO Max. Just call it HBO.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to like change, look, if you're going to rebrand completely, like changing it to Max, which doesn't mean anything and no one knows, like, okay, but which movies am I going to be able to see?
Yeah.
Change it to Warner Brothers. Okay, like Warner Brothers Plus or something, So then so that's where I can watch Harry Potter? Okay. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
but at least most people know what HBO is, Home Box Office Entertainment. It's Warner Brothers streaming stuff. But man, Max was a dumb name.
Yeah.
So I'm glad this is back, and we'll see how long it lasts. HBO. That's not bad. That's not bad either. How many books have been written? Like, ever? Or Avatar books. I was like, what kind of question is that?
Yeah, I didn't know there were Avatar.
There's
I know
comics.
There's
comics. And there's some books too. I haven't read any of the books. I don't know how to read. So, I'm like, how many books are there in the known universe?
That's a very open-ended question.
Yeah.
How many books long?
Avatar.
Well,
Yeah.
there are quite a lot of Avatar books.
Yeah, no, I got there, okay? I figured out. That was me being stupid, not you, okay? HBO Max is back. Also, Elliot,
If you're
close the door.
curious,
Close the door.
apparently it's 170 million unique books in the world.
Don't leave that in the way.
In case
That's a
that
lot
is
of
what
books.
you were asking.
Kids trying to
I mean, that's
sneak
just
in.
what Google says.
Sorry, what?
I just Googled how many books are in the world, in case somebody was
Okay.
wondering about that.
Oh, great. What's the answer?
170 million.
I think that's a low ball.
I
what-
think
here's
so.
the thing,
That
do you
does not
count-
account for all of the books in the
You can't
library.
unique books or because each copy of that book is also a book.
Oh yeah. It says unique books, so not including
Our
copies.
timing is off tonight. Look,
Yeah.
there's kids walking in behind me. I've been camping all day, so I do have like a massive headache. It's been off. I'm a little off my game, not gonna lie, but we'll get into the rhythm. We'll get there eventually. Okay?
Is he getting a soda or what is he doing?
I don't know what he's doing. He's praying to the soda gods, apparently. Also, when I came down here, all of my stuff was crooked. I had to straighten all those things. The plastic glass on my Juan Carter of Mars poster is all shattered, and because the girls have been
yikes.
down here doing their thing. But Rebel Moon's canceled,
Oh,
Oh,
so
not
there's that.
surprising considering how terrible the second one was.
Oh my goodness! And again, I enjoyed watching part one.
Yeah, part one was fine.
Look, it wasn't like a great film, but I had fun watching it.
Yeah,
Holy cow, part two was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
part two was so boring. I
Close
finished
the
the
door.
movie and then forgot that I finished it. Like, oh yeah, I gotta go back and finish watching that movie. I'm like, oh, yeah, I already finished it.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
I don't know of anyone who watched the director's cuts either. I was interested in it at first, and then I watched part two and was like, nah, we're good.
Yep.
yeah. That's interesting.
I don't mind the idea of Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
It just didn't.
I thought it
It
had-
wasn't great. It was really dumb.
More-
Well, okay, so apparently my wife sent him down to get a soda for her. So I can't lock the door. But did I have to break out the plunger? Is it what okay. Now you have lost me. So yeah, games. It could have been a cool franchise, and I didn't think I was interested in it. I was worth giving him a shot. I really liked his version of Justice League. I thought it was pretty dang cool. I don't like every movie he's ever made, but I enjoy some of them. So, kids and toilet paper. Oh, okay. I don't know. Anyway, more news. They're doing a Buffy reboot.
I think I've seen that.
But so like Sarah Michelle Gellar is going to be in it, but she's like passing the torch.
But she's
to
not
presumably her daughter. Maybe I guess that's probably what's going to be.
We'll see.
We'll see.
not.
I mean, it is missing kind of its soul, which was the guy who wrote it.
Yeah.
But he's canceled now. So
Yeah, not a good sign.
he didn't even.
Is Disney doing it? Yeah.
It's probably going to be
Yeah.
bad. Sydney Sweeney as Buffy? Absolutely.
Oh,
I would be on board with that.
Yeah.
Oh, because my kids were flushing things down the toilet. Okay. I don't even remember my own memes. I am off today. I'm sorry. Yes, they flushed lots of things down the toilet paper. That's a cool blouse. What, Martina, what show do you think you're watching?
It's like a folded napkin.
Wait, that is actually a pretty cool blouse. Is it the black one? That is interesting. Those folds are kind of cool. Justin's not gonna be able to watch it. Hey, no worries, man. Thanks for tuning in. She's gonna be playing Willow's daughter, so the Slayer doesn't pass genetically. I need to actually go and watch all of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've seen a bunch of it. I just never watched it from start to finish. I would see it when it was on, Hey man, you can't make the stream. It's fine. Anyway, this is probably gonna suck.
Yep.
And Joss Whedon made the show what it was, but he's a mean director. It's kind of crazy that Joss Whedon got canceled because he didn't do anything bad. He's just not nice.
Yeah.
That's one of the more bizarre cancellations.
I mean, there's several other directors that are infamous for being terrible to work with.
Or actors.
Or actors too, yeah.
And they keep getting work, yeah.
But yeah, they have such prestige in Hollywood that people put up with them anyway,
They're ignoring the series finale to make this. Well, okay, now I need to watch the show. So, I mean, I've been meaning to watch Buffy for a long time and just never gotten around to it.
Does she die?
I don't think I've ever watched it. Yeah. So I gotta watch it. I've heard many good things.
It's a good show. Anyway, so that's interesting. Another thing for Disney to ruin. But yeah. Okay. More news. Kristen Stewart says anyone can make a movie. Okay, I'm with you there, except for the rest of it. It's a bullcrap fallacy that you need experience to direct. It's a real male perspective. Anyone can make a movie if they have something to say. Sure, the problem is not everyone has something interesting to say.
Yeah.
And that's what makes you a good director. Yes, anyone can pick up a camera and make a film. I've done it. It wasn't very good. It was in high school, okay? On Prime, 24th a day. It's coming to Prime? Is that what I feel like missed some words there? I've heard Martina is a bit of
24th
a
of May.
slave driver. Release the Gatsby cut. I need to get it
Yes.
from my grandpa first.
I
For
have
my
it on
dad.
my hard drive right now.
You do? You got it?
We
Okay.
could stream it tonight if you want.
Oh, I
Oh.
don't. It's gonna be a long. Here's the thing. It's gonna be a long.
I think that's.
We got a lot of stuff to
Yeah.
cover tonight. We got news.
I think that is one of your bests.
We
though,
got to
the-
talk about The
Gatsby.
Last of Us. We got to talk about Doctor Who. We got to talk about the rehearsal, and we got to talk about Andor, and we got to talk about Murderbot. There's just
boy.
not. There's no time for the
I mean,
Gatsby cut.
if you want
24
to
hours.
hold off Murderbot until next week, I would have actually seen it then.
Well, we'll talk about it last. Murderbot.
Oh, boy.
Mark's excited about Murderbot, and it seems to be pretty book accurate so far. Anyway, I don't really care about Kristen Stewart. So, Lilo
Oh,
and
boy.
Stitch, that doesn't look bad.
There's something
Yeah.
funky about his
Looks
eyes, though. What?
I
Like,
mean, he is an alien.
yeah.
I don't think
I
this
agree.
looks
It
half
kind
bad.
of looks funny.
I don't think it looks half bad. I think out of all of the Disney remakes, this is the one that justifies its existence the most.
I agree.
It'll be interesting.
This one
I've
and-
actually heard in real life buzz for this movie. Like people are excited to go see it,
Yeah.
which I haven't heard about a single live action remake since Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
That was the last time I heard people, "Oh, I really want to go see this one."
I've been hearing buzz
They're
for
adding
this
new
one,
songs, man.
and I've been hearing buzz for How to Train Your Dragon, actually.
Yeah,
Which are two that.
and that one doesn't make sense to me as a like I don't understand why that's
No.
getting made.
Well, I understand the appeal of making it live action, but everything I've seen has been shot for shot from the
Right.
original.
Yeah, that doesn't.
It's
look
a
like
very
that.
popular series. I understand why a studio would want to do it, but also like it's just it's such good animation. I don't think you need a live action. Okay,
Yeah.
Yep.
they were funky and I kind of want to see Lilo and Stitch. I might take my kids to. I might wait a week and see if there's anything stupid in it, and then go take my kids to see it if it's getting good reviews.
Yeah. Did you get the article I sent about
Yeah.
the changes to Pleakley? Okay. We'll get there.
Wait, the
Legally?
Yeah.
Is it this one?
Um.
I loaded up all of the
that's not
articles
that
you
one.
sent me.
No, I sent one about Lilo and Stitch.
What? Okay, I might have to dig through
Okay.
again.
Maybe I didn't actually send it.
I don't think you did. I think it's in your.
Okay.
I think it's
let
in
me
your
just
inbox.
summarize.
I think it's in your drafts.
It was somebody that was upset about the film because they changed a little bit about the two aliens, Pleakley and whatever his name is, and it was specifically the cross dressing. They're like, oh, he's not going to be cross dressing in it, and that's such
Man.
a shame. It's
best
yeah.
part.
Anyway,
Oh,
for
I mean,
one,
yeah,
yeah,
that was a funny gag.
The problem is it wouldn't be a gag anymore.
yeah, it wouldn't really
Yeah, that's
work
true.
in
It
live
wouldn't.
action.
That makes sense then.
Then.
Yeah. See that's the problem though, is you can't have cross dressing and have it be funny anymore.
Yeah.
Because
Can't make fun of
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Whatever. No,
Anyway.
I like it's fine. I like it because it's a joke. The problem is people don't
Right.
think it's a joke anymore, so we can't make fun of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, just wouldn't
I don't know who
lame.
sent me this one, but it
Oh,
wasn't
word.
me. I've been a big hater of live action, but there's a way to fix it. I figured it out, guys. What's the answer, David? Do you know?
The answer is respect the source material.
Is that it?
That's seriously it. Scroll down to the second headline, I think it is.
Oh my goodness. He cracked the code.
Yeah. If they just pay attention
Make
to the
it
source
good?
material. Like it took him that long to figure it out.
What was the catalyst for this realization? Like what?
I think it was Snow White that just everybody ragged on it, and they were bragging about how they weren't being faithful to the source material.
This guy's serious?
Yeah,
However,
no, this is a serious article.
I've been
I read through the
thinking
entire
a
thing.
lot about this, and I know what to do with these live action. What?
Yeah, He's just now coming to the realization of how to fix all of these things, all the complaints. that
While I
everybody's
do
been saying.
still believe Rachel Zegler is still the perfect Snow White because she has the voice of an angel, the rest of the movie was just not that great. Yeah, because she demanded changes.
Yeah, and she didn't fit the character.
Because she wasn't the perfect Snow White. Okay, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
Oh, man. How do you... It's...
Yeah.
So, okay.
The amount of
It's funny
tone
because
depth-
they accuse the right of living in a bubble, you know?
Yeah.
And then you get takes like this where you're like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we've been saying. Yeah.
Anyway, more news. Why isn't Andor coming back for season 3? Here's what to know about the potential for an extra season.
How
Any
does it end?
guesses?
Does it end with leading up to Rogue One?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. There's your sequel.
It ends at the beginning of Rogue One.
Wow. That's pretty bad.
What?
That's like that one article about what was it when we had? I think it was when we had the Black Widow movie, and everybody's like, "Oh, it'd be great to see her future in the MCU after this movie." I'm like, "Yeah, no, she's dead in the MCU. It's not gonna happen."
It's a prequel, bud.
Yeah.
It's a prequel. No, so like I went camping this weekend, and I had to pick up some bait worms because all the young men in the ward were going in my church were going fishing.
Nice.
And right on the box it says warning, not for human consumption. And you know that
They had to put that there for a reason.
Yeah.
that someone tried to eat them, had a bad time, and then sued the company. And what's even more appalling is that some judge let that case exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Didn't
company
throw it
got-
out immediately.
And it cost the company money because someone was that stupid.
Yeah. It's
The people who eat worms are who this article is written for. And apparently they exist.
Yeah.
well, they exist.
Here's a follow-up question. Is there a single person alive who would be watching Andor who doesn't know that Rogue One exists?
Well, I think yeah.
Rogue One is, by a landslide, the more popular film.
No.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
No one is watching Andor, in spite of how actually good it is. It has the lowest views of any Disney Star Wars show. You really think there's someone out there who has watched Andor without the context of Rogue One? Is
Probably
there a
not.
human being to which that applies?
No, I wouldn't say so.
I mean, maybe the author of this article. I don't know.
I don't think there is. I think it's actually more indicative of just how bad Disney Star Wars has been, that they have to remind people that Rogue One exists.
Yeah.
Like, hey guys, it's been a while and it's all been bad, but just so you know, the one good movie that Disney made, that's the season 3.
Yeah.
Because
That's pretty
it's been a while. So, that's
Yep.
fun. Oh, I didn't have the other article that went with this. There was an interview where someone said, why isn't there a season 3? And it was like, oh, well, the plan was always to only do 2 seasons. And you're like, except that they've talked the showrunner has said they planned 5.
Yeah.
So that's why this.
I think
But
they
I
said
forgot to bring that up.
I think they said
well,
that
he changed
K2SO
it.
wouldn't show up probably until season 3.
That who?
They said K2SO wouldn't show up until season 3.
Right. That is that's technically kind of when he shows up. So each group of 3 episodes is a year. There's a time jump between each one. It was supposed to be 5 seasons. Each season was a year of his life. Because it starts 5 years before Rogue One.
Gotcha.
They did season 1, and halfway through filming it, Tony Gilroy said, "This is going to take way too long, and Diego Luna's going to get old." So they condensed it to 2 seasons, and season 2 was year 2, 3, 4, 5.
Makes sense.
So yeah, K2SO doesn't show up until season 3. So they filmed it like 4 movies.
Yeah.
That's why it was 3 episode chunks.
Well, they still do the 3 episode chunks for season 1 too, but
No, they did it for the first 3 episodes, and then it was weekly.
well, yes, right.
Right.
Releasing,
Each
but
3
each
episodes was a
wasn't
story
on.
arc. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
Mark. Unfortunately, less viewers than The Acolyte, which is crazy.
well, it just shows how much that they've lost their audience. You know, I never thought I would unsubscribe from Disney
And
Plus, but it's
I-
been 2 years now.
And I think that within this season, they lost a lot. Because I would have stopped. I was so bored for the first 6 episodes, I was done. The only reason I kept watching is because people were saying on X that that week 3 was fantastic. And it's like, okay, fine, I'll give it one last shot. And it was actually good. The last 6 episodes are pretty watchable. I enjoyed them quite a bit. I'm glad I kept watching, but the first half of season 2 sucked. So, Disney mishandling everything. So Ironheart, I think, is the next Marvel
boy.
thing,
Yeah. Yes, it is.
and Sacha Baron Cohen is going to be playing Mephisto.
Yeah.
In Ironheart. See, this is something I could get excited about if it were in some other property, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Riri Williams is awful. And yes, the much better casting. Obviously, Sydney Sweeney.
Oh
Mephisto.
boy.
So, speaking of Sydney Sweeney, we got. Can you guys? Sorry, is the picture showing up?
Yeah.
I can't see it. We got Sydney Sweeney as
My
as
goodness.
Lucy Cage. See, that was David. That was a joke. Because you can't see John Cena.
Oh,
You can laugh now.
I
That's his
see
thing.
you did
That's his
that.
wrestler move. You can't, because I hit you so hard. You can't see me because
Uh-huh.
you're dizzy. Goodness gracious. Could you be less cultured, David? Anyway, that's that. Also, she's doing Barbarella, which I don't know anything about.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
In fact,
It's a.
I thought it-
sci-fi,
I thought it was a porno.
it's not a porno, but it's.
It's not. See, I don't know anything about it. But I've heard people talk about it like it is a porno.
It's borderline.
Borderline. Got it. Well, I'm sure Mark Clark's excited about that one.
Yeah.
So, Doctor Who.
I'm sure that's going to be very popular.
Last week's numbers, a teeny tiny spike from week 4.
Really?
Still horrible numbers.
Yeah.
Last week's episode was the Africa storyteller one.
This was the episode that I think made me racist.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
That's pretty bad.
This week's
Also-
episode was filth.
Race has been in every single episode.
It's all about race.
You just cannot stop talking about race.
This show is
Every
just about
single
how
episode.
Doctor Who's a black man now, and they talk about it
Yeah.
all the time. And racism, and you're like, okay, great. No one wants to work with David Tennant anymore, by the way, because he's become
man.
completely insufferable about politics. One of the directors says he was one of the most dislikable people I've ever worked with in Hollywood.
Wow, that is so tragic.
But let's take a break and talk about Doctor Who. This episode was the Eurovision episode. It was terrible.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Do you not? It had a whole bunch of real life cameos of British people who most people don't know. What's the guy's name? Let's see.
Can't help you there.
The guy who was in chirogenic, whatever.
So the host of Eurovision was played by a British celebrity, and I looked this up. I'm trying to remember his name. He was famous for being on the ninth season of the X Factor, and he was the 9th contestant eliminated, and he's famous now for some reason, and he plays himself in the show, but he gets like cryogenically frozen and unfrozen every year for Eurovision, and he's called the Eternal Neely or something.
That's crazy.
Interesting.
Can you imagine an existence like that? Every single day is just another event.
Another.
Another-
That sounds like hell to me.
That's awful.
If every day was Eurovision,
That's wow. I mean, I guess if you really like it, I mean, I guess you could also ask, hey guys, why don't you put me in cryogenic sleep tomorrow or something? I'm gonna take a day off or something. I don't know, maybe. I guess it's not so bad.
so I'm trying to find the cast. What was his name? It was just some guy. Ryland Clark. Ryland Clark. He's 100 people's 9th favorite thing. Yes.
That's
The
from
guy's name is Ryland Clark. Apparently he's famous. And his teeth are fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're blatantly fake.
It was really weird. And then they also had another cameo of another guy, and the joke was that Graham Norton. They had Graham Norton as a hologram, and the joke was that he sold his likeness, and now he's part of the Interstellar Song Museum.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
it was a dig at AI stuff.
Yeah.
It was a horrible episode about racism. And it was, again, saying capitalism is bad, except that they understood nothing about capitalism, because the situation that they presented was, it's like literally impossible for something like that to happen. And also it wouldn't make the company money. They destroyed an entire planet for a flavor of honey. There's a planet called it's literally called like the devil planet or something like that. That the race of aliens
I forget what it's called.
They're called the Devilians or something like that, and they
Something
have
like
two
that.
horns that grow from the back of their head and point forward. They're called Devilians or something. And
Yeah.
they said, "Oh, did they did they destroy your planet for some kind of fuel? They said, no, they destroyed it for our poppies. They're like, oh, is it for like drugs? Like, no, for that. And it's a poster of poppy honey. And like, they destroyed your planet for honey? No, they destroyed our planet for a flavor of honey. And then they burned down the rest of the poppies and blew up the planet so that their capitalism company, and they called it the company or the
Yeah, they called it the company, I thought.
it was a different word. The corporation.
Oh,
The
that's right.
corporation had exclusive access
Very
to
creative
a
name.
flavor.
Yep.
Like
Until
that
it runs
kind of
out,
thing.
then-
Like that kind of thing can't be reverse engineered today.
Yeah.
Like we can literally take something and find out which chemicals make that taste and then make an artificial version of that flavor. Science can do that right now. It's not science fiction.
Yeah.
You could take poppy honey and reverse engineer the flavor of that honey. That wouldn't make you money.
Yeah, especially if you like the only way it would make you money if
They had to buy the planet first. They said they bought the planet and all of its inhabitants. So their purchase of the planet also gave them ownership of the people. Because slavery is a thing, I guess. And then they did a genocide, and there were like 3 survivors, and they were planning a terrorist attack revenge during the space Eurovision.
I don't think there was only 3 survivors because they hated those people, and I don't think that they would hate them so badly if there was only 3 survivors.
Okay, there were 3 survivors in the episode. Okay,
You're right.
Gotcha.
but they tried to make it a race thing, like, oh, we heard that those people destroyed their own, that they did it themselves. They destroyed their own planet, and you're like,
Yeah.
so there's 2 terrorists. They try and hijack the thing, and they're sending a broadcast signal over the whole show. So anyone who's watching it, their brains will explode. But it turns out one of the contestants is also a Devillian, but in disguise. And it was so obvious. The second that they showed her on screen, you're like, okay, so she's one of them too, because she had this horrible hairdo. And you're like, okay, that's obviously covering up her horns. And then they did the reveal. She's an alien too. And her horns had been chopped off. So she didn't need the ridiculous hairdo, but it was in the exact shape of the horn. So you're like, okay, that's
weird.
obviously what it is. And then it didn't need to be that. And it's even worse. She doesn't, she's revealing it to Belinda Chandra, the Doctor's companion. And she goes, I'm an alien. And then she's talking to them, to their face. She says, I'm a Devillian. See, I'll show you. And then it cuts. It shows the camera pointing at the back of her head while she's still looking at them. And then she reveals her horns to the camera. And they say, oh, you're an alien. You're a Devillian.
Huh.
But they can't see. And
Yeah,
then
that's
she
weird.
turns around so that it was literally, hey, audience, look, I'm a Devillian. It was so badly made. It was embarrassing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I hated it. Also, there's a scene where he starts torturing one of the terrorists because he's a bad guy and he's torturing him. And it shows his companion see him and say, wow, I don't know who that is. That's not the Doctor. And I was like, yeah.
Okay,
I agree.
well,
that's not the Doctor.
no, I see. The Doctor's had many moments where
It was a meta.
he's had
I was
darker
saying like
side.
from a meta perspective.
Yes, you're right.
The other problem with that scene is she says, I don't recognize him. I've never seen him like this. And then the next sentence out of her mouth is, if he's angry, you don't want to see him angry. Trust me, I've seen him like this.
Oh wait, yeah.
Literally,
I didn't catch
that was a dialogue. That was verbatim from the show.
Wow.
I don't recognize who that is. I've never seen him like this. But trust me, if he's angry, you don't want to be on the receiving end because I've seen him like this.
Wow.
Like, these writers are idiots. Also, he was breathing in space.
Yeah, that was the oh my god, the whole scene.
He gets
Outside of
tossed
his
out.
TARDIS
He
bubble?
gets tossed out into space. I'm so glad you mentioned the TARDIS bubble, David,
Yeah.
because there's a scene where he's standing next to the TARDIS inside the TARDIS bubble, and the gravity gets released, and he gets sucked away, and Belinda Chandra gets sucked away too, except that they're both standing inside the TARDIS bubble, and that shouldn't happen. But he gets sucked out anyway. She grabs onto something, and then gravity goes back on, and she's still next to the TARDIS. He gets cast out into space, and he starts freezing, and then he opens his eyes and goes, breaks off the ice, and then grabs a confetti cannon and shoots it in space so he can get back to the space station.
Oh, see, that's kind of scientific-ish.
Except
I mean-
that he's breathing in space.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And you could tell that they thought they were
Yes.
so clever with the
They bring it
confetti
up.
cannon.
They bring it up. They're like, is he really using a confetti cannon? Because it was like, it is Chekhov's gun. They said, wow, what's this item backstage? It's a confetti cannon to announce the winner. And then, oh, he's picking up Chekhov's confetti cannon. And then they say, hey, audience, is he picking up Chekhov's confetti cannon?
Oh,
is
yeah.
he going to use it? And then he shoots it, gets back into base. And then they repeat it again. And he says, hey, did
that?
I just
Oh my
use
goodness.
a confetti cannon to get back to move in space? Iconic. And then they move
Oh my
on, and
goodness.
you're like, I've never
That's so
seen a
crazy.
writer pat themselves harder on the back than whoever wrote this episode, and it was idiotic.
Yeah.
They were so proud of themselves. They had to tell you how proud they were. So,
Yep.
Yeah, that's oh, man.
absolutely hated it.
Wow.
And then he goes ballistic, and she has to talk him down and say, "No, you're not a monster." Except that the episode starts with her not trusting him and like saying, "I think you're a monster because you can't get me home, and I think you've kidnapped me." And then she spends the whole episode telling him that he's not a monster, but it started with her thinking that he was a It's really dumb. It's really dumb.
Yeah.
Also, he gives a speech about how revenge is bad while he's torturing the bad guy. And he does it because he can turn himself into a hologram, but he can turn his holograms into hard light, and that shocks people when you touch them.
Yeah.
So he was
Okay.
torturing the terrorist, saying, revenge is bad. If you act on revenge,
I will.
you're a
revenge
bad
you.
person.
Yeah.
Like it was bizarre. That word's coming back this episode. We will have to talk
Crazy.
about the new nail in the Watt coffin later. That's coming up. That's coming up, baby. Don't you worry. I will not miss an excuse to talk about Watt ratings. So here's some more news. I'm done talking. Did you have anything else to say about Doctor Who, Charles? It was
The
terrible.
gay couple was insufferable.
Actually, I
okay.
kind of liked them. They
you
were
think-
the best part of the episode. They kept pointing out, hey, by the way, these guys are gay, because that was more important. Their characters were actually kind of fun. I liked the...
Maybe
the-
I didn't.
I liked
maybe I
the
didn't pay
white
attention
guy.
to that part.
He was kind of funny.
That's okay. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to rewatch it. I don't care. But I thought it was silly that they just so happened had the exact expertise that the doctor needed. He would like, oh, if I only had a person who was an expert in this thing.
Oh, that's me. The three
me.
people that were left, yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And
silly.
That was silly. And then
But
think-
I kind of thought they were better actors than Chudigatwa. I kind of liked them. So
That's also
they were kind of funny. They were kind of
That's a
funny.
low bar.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention to them. I was part of me was just not paying attention to the
'Cause
episode.
you
I
can
didn't
quote me
want
on it.
to watch
The gay
episode.
characters were the best part of this episode. That is a direct
Fair
quote
enough.
for me.
Fair enough.
I didn't like that they kept pointing it out. It was weird. Because that was
Yeah.
more important to the writer rather than the actual good writing that they did.
Yeah.
This is crazy though, okay? Activision has banned teabagging.
What?
If you teabag
Okay.
anyone in their games, you will be banned.
Huh.
Because it's considered unsportsmanlike behavior and it will result in disciplinary action, including temporary or permanent bans.
Interesting move. We'll see how that works
I
out.
thought-
It won't. It will not work out well for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's off. That's dumb. That is
Yes.
so dumb.
it is. This was a funny new zinger that J.K. Rowling had. Someone was trying to argue that Shakespeare wrote about transgender characters, but he just didn't have the right terminology to describe them. And her response was, yes, because that's what Shakespeare was known for. He struggled to find words. And then someone asked Grok to give a Shakespearean verse on transgenderism, and it's hilarious.
Okay, fun.
Does anyone want to read this? Like, I need a drink. Who wants to take a stab?
Okay. I don't know. I'm not good at performing.
Here. Oh, that's a great point. Then don't make it a thing.
Well, because
Well,
teabagging
if
is
you
just crouching. So
yeah.
crouching is a necessary feature. Teabagging is just crouching over your dead enemy that you just killed.
Oh, Martina, you don't know what you're teabagging. Come on, it's not.
It's a very sportsman. It's an ironic, fun little thing to say.
It's
I
better-
gotcha.
You don't know what you're talking about.
in the game.
You don't know what you're talking about, Martina.
fun.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your
It's
lane.
totally sportsman.
It is pretty gross,
Okay.
but they shouldn't ban people for it. You know.
Just because I would always
Yeah.
win and then teabag you when we played Halo, David, doesn't mean you have to take your wife's side on this argument.
I have never once played Halo with you, bro.
Oh, fickle fancy, dressed in motley guise that bids the soul its very form despise. A man with beard and sinew claims a dame, or maid with gentle curve, a sir's bold name. The bold once a temple, now a stage. There were where reason bows to passion's frenzied rage. No compass holds, no star to guide the way when truth itself is cast in disarray. This is
Oh my
so
goodness.
good. This is
That's
what
great, man.
AI is good. AI is a compilation tool. Okay.
Yep,
This is AI that created it.
Yes, this is Grok.
Okay.
Okay.
that's awesome.
Okay. I didn't know what Grok was.
AI can recognize patterns and reproduce them. Okay, it's not going to create art, but it will maybe come up with a fun rhyming scheme and help you put it in iambic pentameter. Okay, what is this chaos cloaked in freedom's name? Masquerade that
Oh, that's
courts
good.
eternal shame. The moon doth blush, the sun averts its gaze when mortals mock the world's unyielding ways. Piteous age.
No,
Pietus
pietus. Oh, pietus age.
No, it's piteous. Piteous age, where sense is put to flight, because it's talking about this time where sense is gone. It's pitying our age.
Yeah.
And shadows dance as truth in borrowed light. Let us lament this folly deep and wide, and pray for wisdom's grace to turn the tide. That is,
Dude, that is
so
really
That is
good.
really good.
good.
They've
That-
got some.
That second verse
Is-
is a banger, man.
Is Grok based?
Give me an George Orwell passage to describe.
Oh man, this is
We just
great.
keep going. You got to check
Oh
out this
my
thread.
goodness.
It's so good. I don't want to read this
Wow.
one, but What a
That's
zinger.
Fantastic, man.
Feel the love.
I don't want to.
For some reason, this is the marketing material for the show.
Yeah, very weird marketing material.
Because everyone knows the games were about love. Like, I just...
Yeah.
What is this? It's like also like creepy, you know? Like, oh, I don't like what tone is this? It's
don't know.
It's presented like an eerie tone,
Right.
but then it's talking about feeling her love, and then you can't help but put Bella Ramsey in your head and just say no thanks. Like, what is this? What is this going for?
It's a reference, obviously.
There's like a sickle.
To
There's a sickle, or something.
yeah, it's a reference to the cult-like religious group in The Last of Us. There's a cult group, and they repeat "Feel her love."
Oh,
which is
okay.
Like
I stopped watching. I stopped watching.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah.
Is that this
it's
episode?
a very obscure thing.
Is that this episode?
It's in this episode. Yeah.
I couldn't keep going with this show.
Yeah, no, it's what the religious group says. I don't know what it means yet. I forget what the
Martina
game says about it.
You don't go and shove your taint. This doesn't happen like on the battlefields of the Middle East. You don't confirm your kills by teabagging the enemy. No, if you're playing your older brother,
that would be a good sketch, though.
If you're playing your older brother and he
Yeah,
sucks and you win, you go over to his dead body in the video game and you crouch repeatedly, because then from his screen he just sees your character shaming him because he's bad at video games. That's what teabagging is.
It's a beautiful, very very sportsman interaction.
Right.
I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Robert Jordan he only had LGBTP coded characters in his books because they couldn't have been published otherwise. He wasn't very subtle about the stuff that he included in his books. And he also said that the characters that they were trying to ship were not gay. Moraine and Suwan are not lesbians. They are straight.
That's right.
Robert Jordan said that repeatedly in interviews. So.
Yeah.
Oh, but if he wrote them today, he would have wrote them gay. Okay.
That's such a cop-out. That's such a cop-out of a argument.
Oh, yeah. The Jaguar marketing team, that horrible, the worst marketing of all time, they're fired. They're looking for new representation.
Yeah. That's a great choice.
See, if you didn't finish the job, nut tap. That doesn't happen in real life. Good observation, Joshua. Yeah, no, like there's overt stuff in the books. Like you don't need whatever. Okay, so this isn't as weird as I think it is.
It's not. It's a little obscure. I don't know if anybody like if it's the marketing. This is supposed to be marketing people who aren't watching the show, like yourself. So why would they choose something that you have to watch the show to understand?
I see this. I think of Bella Ramsey, and I say no thanks, and I don't watch.
See, if I didn't know the reference, I would think
because
of
the
Bella
last
Ramsey as well.
episode I saw was them scissoring, and I don't want to watch that again. So I'm good.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I definitely don't. But yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
If you watch the show, you get the reference. I don't get how this is advertisement.
Yeah, so that's not how
you only get it if you already watched the show.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I think it's a weird advertisement choice.
Yeah, same. But did you know she's gonna be a dad?
That's good. I like that.
Ella's gonna be a dad. You didn't see Murderbot? Okay, we'll move this
I did
to the
not.
end. We'll move this to the end then.
Man, I need to watch it.
Okay. Wheel of Time. Amazon and Sony are reportedly pretty close to renewing the Wheel of Time. This is coming from Winter is Coming.
Pretty close.
Just absolute pinnacles in the standard of journalism, right?
Yeah.
Then you look at the headline. According to What Up, a YouTube channel that has like 10,000 viewers, said that he thinks the show is going to get renewed.
Also, a YouTube channel.
That's it.
His source is a YouTube channel?
He polled his audience, and they said, yes, we think the show's getting renewed. This is the definition of fake news.
Yes.
Their source is a YouTuber who polled his audience, and they said, yes, it's getting renewed because they want it to. I don't even know. What Up has... Oh, okay, 25,000 views. It's a little bit bigger than what I said. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Still, though, that is not what the title says.
You can tell that... So it's speculation. You can tell... No, you think there's an active deal that both parties seem interested in. There is conversations happening between both Sony and Amazon about this. You think. Yeah. You have zero proof. That's it. It doesn't look good, though.
Yeah.
They just canceled Bondsman, which was performing better than Wheel of Time.
I hadn't seen
after
it.
One season. Yikes. Doesn't look good. You want to look at the numbers.
Are you hearing David's screen as well? Are you hearing from David?
He's probably got a call or something.
Oh, I'm hearing his audio.
What?
Yeah, I could hear his audio. I thought you could hear that too.
Oh, is he trying to talk?
No, but I hear Martina and all the kids, and they're making a lot of noise.
He muted himself from me. Here, hold on. Let me unmute and then mute him. Can you still hear him? So he self-muted. That's weird that you can hear him. That's crazy.
I can hear him.
I couldn't hear any of that. Sorry if that was confusing. The audience can't hear it either.
They can't hear him? Okay. I guess I'll just deal with it until he comes back. It was just a lot of noise, and you were talking over him, so I thought...
Sorry. No one... I can't hear him at all. He's showing up as completely muted on my screen. Yeah, Ransom Canyon, never heard of, by the way. It's a Netflix show that looks like it's kind of a ripoff of Yellowstone. It's performing really well. So I don't know. We might have to check it out. I don't know if it's good, but Ransom Canyon is doing better. Ransom Canyon is kind of fun. There's kind of a lot on my plate right now, but I might check it out eventually. Let's see. What Up said that Rotten Tomatoes and another rating site was more accurate than Nielsen's? No. Not the case. Rotten Tomatoes is about the worst source of information you can get. They literally prune bad reviews, okay? And guess what? The Bondsman was doing really well on Rotten Tomatoes too, and performing better in the Nielsen ratings than the Wheel of Time, and it got canceled. It was at like 80. It was almost at like 90% at Rotten Tomatoes. I watched the first episode. It was kind of good. I didn't keep watching, but it was way better than Wheel of Time. It was kind of charming. If you look at the actual numbers, the final episode finally clawed its way back onto the Nielsen ratings. This hasn't charted in 2 weeks, remember. And it's not looking good. It's barely above Reacher, which has now been over for 2 months.
Yeah.
And Wheel of Time just ended a few weeks ago, okay?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad Mobland isn't doing better. I've heard that show's really good, and
Mobland?
it's one of it's Guy Ritchie, and I'm looking forward to watching it because Guy Ritchie's fantastic. The Glass Dome I haven't heard of. The Residence I haven't heard. I've heard of The Pit. A lot of people like that. Love on the Spectrum is doing better. Yikes. Handmaid's Tale apparently has another season. And Ransom Canyon is doing fantastic, and Black Mirror is doing fantastic because those are both popular. Good for Netflix, man. They're crushing Nielsen ratings. It's every show, except 1, 2, and then these teeny ones on the bottom. They're happy right now. So the dark blue line is season 3 compared to the white blue line, which was season 2, and the medium blue line, which was season 1 of The Wheel of Time, and then compared to seasons 2 and 3 of The Boys, and seasons 2 and 3 of Reacher, and season 3 of Invincible, which for some reason didn't chart for like 2 weeks. These two plot points right here are guesses because the numbers were so low, they did not make the Nielsen top 10. Glass Dome is a foreign show, and it's doing better than The Wheel of Time. Cool beans, baby. That's what I like to hear. So these are best case scenarios. Oh, actually, we know that the number is less than this because these two numbers were he just took the numbers for the 10th show. So we know that the number is lower than these two numbers. It probably dipped more and then
it would have come
bit
up
for the finale
because it was on the top 10 at the end.
Well, that's not how it works though. 'Cause the top 10 it's the top 10. So if this number stays the same and if there were 2 more shows that were both getting 500, the Wheel of Time episode 8 wouldn't be on the top 10.
Okay,
so what he did for the 2 weeks where it didn't appear, he just took the bottom number and punched that in for this. So we know it can't be higher than that, and it has to be lower for those 2 weeks that it didn't chart.
Got it. Okay.
I think the same thing happened for season 3.
Hey, David.
Sorry about that.
So, yeah, The Bondsman was performing better, great Rotten Tomatoes scores, and it just got canceled.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good, and then this is his compilation, like the best case scenario, season 2 barely outperformed season 2, but it probably did worse.
Yeah.
Because of those 2 weeks where we don't have the numbers.
Yeah. Did you read that article about they're so close to renewing Wheel of Time season 3?
Yes. With no sources. Yes.
Yeah. All he said is, "Oh, they haven't announced it yet. They've got to be really close." I mean, but if it goes on,
it's worse.
More than 3 months, then it's definitely canceled.
He polled his audience, and they said, "Yes, we think it's getting renewed." That's the source of the article.
Yeah. It was pathetic.
It has to be close to being renewed. No, it is. They are just waiting to announce that it's canceled because they don't want the freaks to freak out.
Yeah. Oh, it even brought it up in the article saying they've just renewed like 10 other shows and they didn't say anything about this show.
And it's doing real bad.
So.
And this is a great point that is brought up by the White Cloaks. Episode 4, it was episode 4, right? Is being universally praised as the best episode of this season, which is true. It is the best episode. But this is by
book accurate.
This is our dear friend Malkiers King. Okay, this is the guy who did the petition. Okay.
Yeah.
He even agrees this is the best episode of the season.
Right.
And it's the only episode that was remotely close to being book accurate.
Yeah.
So even the people who like the show, which are crazy people, but even the psychopaths agree the best episode of the show that they love is the one that was faithful to the books.
Yeah.
So just imagine how much better the show could actually be if they tried being faithful to the books.
Yep.
Amazon just bought up more properties. I know there's a whole bunch of Henry Cavill stuff in the works. I know he's making a Voltron movie. He's making a Highlander series, and maybe Warhammer 40K is still in the works. And I think they're all with Amazon. Who knows?
We'll see.
Hope so.
It kind of sounds like Amazon is course correcting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Like I said, they made some pretty terrible stuff, but they've also made some amazing stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's Amazon and it's Apple Plus. They're on top dogs right now, which I never thought I would say Apple would be in the ring for best streaming service. Because I hate them as a company with a passion of 1,000 dying suns.
This one's rough. Let's take a break and talk about a show.
Oh,
Because this one's going to make me sad.
yeah.
We talked about Doctor Who. Let's talk about the rehearsal.
Okay. This episode was a lot better than last.
Wait, Voltron just wrapped filming, so it's not even in pre-production. It's being made. Nice. I can't wait to see Henry Cavill as Voltron. I'm joking. I know that's not the.
Yeah.
I make a joke. Okay.
I'm down. Henry Cavill as Voltron
is literally my gamer tag. Okay. Voltron 505. Let's go. The Netflix show started off really good, and then every season just got worse and worse. I did not finish watching that horrible show. Murderbot. Okay, the problem is Charles didn't do his homework. He didn't watch Murderbot, so we'll save Murderbot for last, and we can boot him out. Should we practice first before we talk about the rehearsal? Okay. David wasn't here to defend his bad opinion on not enjoying episode 3, which was a literal freaking masterpiece, David.
It was amazing. Episode 3 was amazing.
But before we argue about last week, did you enjoy episode 4?
I really did.
Okay. I thought this episode was hilarious and not as good as the last episode.
Totally agree.
I loved this episode. Episode 3 was better. So I don't know what kind of drugs you were on that you didn't enjoy seeing Nathan Fielder being hoisted up by wires in his diaper and being breastfed by a giant mannequin.
Yeah. The breastfeeding bit was
so good.
Funny. It went on a little too long, but the rest of it, him having his diaper changed, that was, I don't know. It got so really weird really fast. But the worst part about it though was him jerking himself off on the plane. Like, what the freaking heck was that? It was so disgusting. And it didn't have anything
show
to do.
him doing
it. I know, but it was cringy and gross.
Yeah, that was the worst part of the episode. I get some people would think that's funny
with it because he didn't say he was sexually aroused. He just said, "Hey, it's kind of elating being in this beautiful place, flying an airplane next to a pretty girl, and her skin was brushing up against my skin."
But that's the thing. He takes everything to its extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just.
Mark, you're so wrong. You're so wrong about the rehearsal. It was a master something.
Yeah.
You've heard Sydney Sweeney as Voltron's leg? I am in. Okay.
The leg, though?
This episode, man.
Anyway, this episode was great.
So funny with him basically exposing all of Hollywood, too.
Yeah.
And saying, like, hey, like, just because you're an actor means you get to do horrible things. Like, people justify horrible stuff if they're acting.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
And then he brought the boyfriends in on it, and he's like,
he
Oh my
has
goodness.
the
like,
boyfriend
oh my gosh.
watching his actor girlfriend make out with a guy on a couch in character, and I'm not going to give them any lines. I want them to feel the scene as it would naturally progress. And he's like, you're okay with this? And he's like, yeah, I mean, she's acting, you know. It was so funny.
Man, it was
and then
awful.
him realizing, oh, wait, acting removes our social inhibitions. If I convince the pilot that he's an actor, that will help him overcome these social inhibitions. It was the way that he weaves the story into a cohesive narrative is wonderful.
I also feel really bad for this pilot guy, because he's so shy and awkward, and
but like,
man, it was just,
that's the thing. Like,
I felt so bad for him.
Nathan is like kind of actually trying to help him, though. You know,
Yeah,
he's using him, but
yeah.
also like that's the thing. Nathan Fielder has always done it really good at balancing. Like, hey, I'm making fun of people, but he also like cares about them too. Like, he genuinely cares about these people.
No, I get that too. I felt like if I was in that situation, I would. I mean, it's awkward, right? Even if.
Hey, I can't legally ask you to be romantic with him, but if it comes up.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so funny. Such a funny episode. It was so awkward. So funny.
And it was hilarious too that he was. It started out with the his wings of voice, whatever thing. He's like, yeah, I feel bad.
I had no use for the show anymore, but I'd already committed, so I might as well let them finish. And he's like, so I finished it off in one episode. Tonight, 87 contestants will be eliminated from Wings of Voice.
Oh,
It was so good.
Yeah.
And it was Amazing Grace, but in like 7 different genres, and it was the worst thing you've ever heard.
So bad.
Because they all have to sing royalty-free music, so he doesn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, I thought the country was bad enough, and then it went over to, it just kept getting progressively
to the freestyle rap,
worse and worse. Went to the K-pop or whatever, the pop rock, that was terrible. And then hip hop or whatever. It's just like, oh boy, this is bad. But so very hilarious.
Wait, so, okay. I liked it. I don't really have a lot to say about the rehearsal. It's just, it's so funny. David, you didn't watch Andor, right? And Charles didn't either?
I did not.
no, I didn't watch it.
I did want to, but
we just can't get into depth. I might take back my statement, because last week I said, is it worth watching 6 boring episodes for like the 3 in the middle that were good? And I said no. But these last 3 episodes were also good too. I think it was worth it. I'm glad that I watched through, because the last half of this season is genuinely good.
That's good.
And it kind of makes the first half better retroactively, but man, it was still boring to watch. And I wish it wasn't. But Andor season 2 is pretty good. Arguably the best thing Disney has ever done with Star Wars. That and Rogue One, and it's directly tied to Rogue One. It actually makes Rogue One a better movie too.
Really?
My biggest complaint is that the first half of that movie is pretty disjointed. This kind of fills in those gaps.
Okay.
So
It's been a while. I don't remember everything in Rogue One. So.
Yeah. Rogue One was interesting because I was going in expecting to hate the movie because it completely writes out my favorite extended universe character of Kyle Katarn, right?
Yeah.
He was the one that...
Dude, I'm playing through Dark Forces 2 right now.
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
Granted,
I'm about
in
to
the very
fight.
first episode,
Yeah, guy.
the very first level of Dark Forces 1 that he steals
the plans for the Death Star.
plans. It was just a very quick thing, but still, I was mad that they weren't writing him in. But yeah, it was really
what
good.
a silly choice to not have Kyle Katarn as a character. But Cassian Andor is also kind of cool. I like him.
Yeah, he kind of fills the same role. Him and Jen are the same as Jan Ors, you know. From the,
Oh, we haven't Conan'd in a month. Okay, we'll play. I haven't been home this week.
This month.
I've been in Salt Lake this whole week helping my grandma who can't walk anymore, and then I was camping this weekend. So, but yeah, we'll Conan Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, one of those days.
Yep.
Whenever these guys can do it.
One of the days, Mark, the last time all three of us Conan'd and you blew us off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why it's been a month, Mark, because you flaked. We all Conan'd without you. So we'll play. I got some time this week. So, I think Andor season 2 is worth it. I think it's worth watching. It was pretty good.
I will watch it eventually.
What else? There's Murderbot. What's the other show? Sorry.
Rehearsal, Murderbot, Andor.
Doctor Who, The Last of Us.
The Last of Us. I didn't watch it.
Yep.
Charles? You're the only one who watched it?
Yeah, I'm the only one who watched it.
Is it just as garbage?
Yeah. Here, let me see my notes. There's a couple of things. All of the leaders of every single group is female for no reason. Makes no sense, especially in an apocalypse. A lot of people are complaining about that virus going airborne because in the show it's originally airborne, and then in the game it's originally airborne, and then in the show not doing it, and now they're retconning
and now
it's bringing it back. I don't have a problem with it because it adds something to the second season. The second season has nothing other than lesbian sex and revenge that nobody's really care about. I don't know.
Yep.
So
has it brought back stepping on the little tendrils? Again?
It's just at the very end of the episode. It's when it comes back. Bella Ramsey chases down one of the accomplices of Abby, and they go into one of the section of the hospital which was quarantined because they had discovered this airborne virus. So they quarantined, they shut off everything, and then they went down into this little area of it, and she's dying, and Bella Ramsey reveals that she's immune, and then she tortures the
you don't
tortures her, asking her for
viewership is way down. I wouldn't know. I stopped watching.
Yeah, she cannot carry the show.
She's awful. She's so bad.
Most of my notes are just how bad she is.
I say that because I feel bad for her.
Yeah.
The person who cast her was sick. Because she's going to get all the hate because it's not her fault she's a bad actress. It's whoever hired her's fault. Lots of people aren't good at acting.
Yep.
Then they don't get hired. And so now this poor girl, she's taking all of the heat for her bad performance in the show that she never should have had. Okay.
Yep.
Do I think Bella Ramsey is a big fan of personal debt? This is the setup to a joke. And I'm trying to figure out what the punchline is. No, she's not a fan of personal debt. Yes, I did see her dressed like Weird Al. My brain is not full function
I did not
tonight.
see that, and I think I'm glad I didn't see it.
Dave Ramsey. God, that's okay.
Gotcha.
There you go. That's the connection. I don't know why I couldn't. I'm sorry. I apologize. That's a good joke. I didn't sleep a lot last night because I was camping. So.
Anyways.
Okay. So are we already to Murderbot then?
Well, I guess I have a couple more notes. Okay. Just really how they introduced another character, Jesse, who's from the game. He's the boyfriend of Dina.
Yeah, but he's been
dad.
We've seen him.
Right. I'm sorry, they didn't introduce him. He finally caught up to them, and he's one of my favorite characters just because he's actually good. He's an interesting character, and he talks down to Ellie, making her, like showing how dumb she is, and whatever.
I would
so
too.
I like him.
Cool.
And it just, I all my notes are just how bad she is, and how the last scene is almost a good scene. Like it's almost interesting, it's almost intimidating until you see Bella Ramsey is the character in the scene, and then the whole immersion is broken because she's not intimidating at all. And it's just tragic because the show has potential, and her casting ruined majority of the show.
Cool beans. Speaking of potential, the Stormlight Archive.
Yep.
Oh boy. Still have not read the last book yet.
Sorry, guys. The stream's about to get real depressing.
I haven't read.
Remember when we were asking ourselves, hey, are you completely done reading in the Cosmere? Maybe. If Brandon Sanderson listens to feedback and course corrects, I'll give him another shot. If he doubles down and doesn't course correct and refuses to admit that he did a bad job because of woke politics, I'm done with the Cosmere, and I'm not interested in it. I refunded my Kickstarter.
Oh, did you?
I lost 10% of the money because it went to processing Kickstarter stuff, but they were offering, it was really funny. They did a big virtue signal. They said, because of Trump tariffs, we don't know if we're going to be able to deliver when that's going to happen. So if you want, we can give you, we will still make sure it happens, but we don't want to raise the prices, and it just might take longer.
Aren't the books
But if you don't,
in the U.S.?
No, they're not made here.
Oh, well,
So
I don't know
anyone
about
in the
that.
United States,
Okay.
if you want a refund because you don't want to wait for your RPG books, we'll offer a refund. And so I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I paid for the full. Because I thought this book was going to be good. This was on my most anticipated books of 2024. In the video that I made 2 years ago, I said this one's probably going to be number 1 on my top 10 books next year. And it was my least favorite book I read. So, he answered the question, is he going to listen to feedback? The answer is no. Exclusive. For some reason, Brandon Sanderson gave an exclusive interview to Winter is Coming.
Ooh.
The pinnacle of journalism.
Yeah.
These are the guys who had an article every single month at the end of the month saying, is Wheel of Time Season 2 coming back this month after the month was over?
Yep.
All of their articles were written by AI until they started
after season 1 too.
They had articles being written by AI for 2 years until they gained traction, and now they have real people writing for them. It's literally just a Screen Rant's clone. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
He gave them an exclusive interview. Brandon Sanderson knew his 5th Stormlight book might challenge readers, but he stands by his decision, including the book's most infamous joke. Oh, I didn't read that part. Is he talking about the Chol vagina?
I don't know. That was a pretty terrible joke, though.
Charles, you haven't read any of these books, right?
I've read up until the last one. I've read all but the last.
Okay. Yeah. Syl makes a joke that her vagina is in the shape of a chol.
A Chol head.
No, a chol body.
Syl, the child.
The spren.
The wind spren, yes.
Oh.
She says, because I can change my
It's
shape.
been a while.
And I always turn my vagina into a chol. I think that might be the joke that he's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Blah, 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 blah. I want quotes. I don't actually care about this. Okay. Brandon was prepared for this book to be controversial. I feel good about it, largely. That you shouldn't. Seriously, Brandon Sanderson was my favorite living author of all time. I have, still to this day, I have not read any author more than I've read Brandon Sanderson. I've read every single one of his books. I freaking loved him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry. This is the worst book I've ever read. I felt good about it because I do such extensive beta reads. I know what people are going to say, and I'm usually targeting those emotions. I knew people were going to be pissed off, and I did it on purpose. Wind and Truth, when I was working on my original outlines, was one that I knew would probably be the most divisive. And looking at the responses, they have been divisive in the ways that I expected and wanted. And so we're good.
Wow.
It's interesting. Each book of the Stormlight Archive, I feel, needs to reinvent itself. Why? Because they're long. That's your fault. They're so long, I write them as if I were plotting a trilogy. Each volume is a trilogy, and I feel they would get stale really quickly if they didn't reinvent themselves periodically with each volume. So I don't want to keep writing the things that people like, because then people wouldn't like them. So I stopped writing what people liked so that people would like it. This is ridiculous. Charles, you've read the first 4 books. Do you feel like the series reinvents itself each time? No!
No, I wouldn't say so.
The first two books feel very similar.
They're basically
Book 3, there's a slight reinvention in that it's the same world, but it branches out a little bit. And then book 4, yes, there was a stronger reinvention, and everyone kind of didn't like it. And we were hoping that he would listen to feedback.
I don't know. I can kind of see what he was going. I see this most plainly in the Mistborn trilogy with Wax and Wayne. Sorry, 4 books. There's 4 of them because each book is like a different
genre
sort of thing.
Yes.
The first,
Okay, but that's not what he's talking about. Stormlight.
So if he's not talking about that, then I don't get what he's.
No, he's saying each book of Stormlight is like a trilogy in and of itself.
Yeah, which I don't know. It's been a while also since I've read them.
Yeah,
but,
I know Mike Clark is really mad about. They'll announce them soon.
Yeah, the only thing that I see possibly making sense with this is in the way of his revelations and expounding on the world lore, because he does do that in the different books. He reveals something else, you're like, okay, that kind of changes how this works. But
it does. The only book that you could say this for is book 4. Because just because the structure was vastly different. Like book 3 felt like the same series, but it branched out. Book 4 still felt like the same series, but the focus was different. And that's what a lot of people disliked about book 4. And then book 5, I got to completely reinvent it every single time. God forbid I do the thing that people like. So there's things I did in Wind and Truth very specifically to make people uncomfortable, and maybe that's not a wise choice, you betcha. But it's definitely the artistic one. This is the problem. Brandon Sanderson. David, why do you read Brandon Sanderson books? Because of his prose? Because it's art? Because it's
awesome.
It's
world
fun.
Building and magic systems.
Brandon Sanderson is schlock. It's extremely entertaining schlock. It's pulp fiction. I never read Brandon Sanderson for his prose. I read him because he's really fun to read. Yeah. He makes really engrossing world building and really fun characters and awesome fight scenes between, and he uses the magic system to its extreme and breaks his own magic systems to do cool things. And you're like, wow, that's awesome. I didn't think it could work that way, but it makes sense in retrospect. That's cool. I never read him because, oh my goodness, it reads like poetry. It's so artistic. He has completely abandoned his core audience. He is no longer writing for the audience. He's writing for writers. He's trying to impress Mary Robinette Quall. He is trying to become an author's author, an auteur. And that is not the reason why he became famous.
Yeah.
And he's not good at it. I love Brandon Sanderson, but if this is what you think art is, you have bad taste.
Yeah.
And it's depressing because he's so freaking good at writing pulp fiction.
Yep.
I love it. Please keep doing that and not whatever this is. Yeah, book 3 has a slightly different feel, but it feels like the same word. It didn't reinvent itself. It opened up a little bit.
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about The Wheel of Time? But The Wheel of Time is my favorite series of all time. Now, it was my second favorite series. My favorite series of all time was the Stormlight Archive. And now it's not.
Yeah. I'm on book 3, by the
Dude,
way.
I'm rereading The Wheel of Time right now. I am on Path of Daggers, and I love it. So you're new to the channel. The Wheel of Time was the first big break I had on YouTube. I got a whole bunch of people interested in me talking about the TV show, and then they hated me when I criticized it, and I lost like 200 subscribers. And then I got a whole bunch back when I started criticizing Rings of Power. So, Queef and Beans. I love that the title of this book gets worse and worse every time. I'm still reading Wind and Truth. Been reading it since the release date. You're only on page 7. I have Convo muted to avoid. Oh, okay. We'll warn you when we're done. Sorry. We actually aren't even talking spoilers right now. Book 3 is focusing on the Prashende. His character work's fantastic. It's so good. His characters are fantastic. I have a new favorite character right now. Light Song has always been my favorite character of all time from Warbreaker.
Light Song's
Heck
amazing.
I have a new favorite literary character now. And
So this is outside of
it's from Hugh Howey.
Hugh Howey.
It's the Silo books. Silo Book 2 introduces a character which is, I think, the best written literary character of all time. At least my personal favorite. Holy cow. Book 2, like Book 1 was fine. Book 2 was incredible. But now I'm reading. I read the book that Mark Clark wanted me to do. I finished Warrior's Apprentice, and Miles Vorkosigan is a pretty great character too. Okay, Stormlight Archive. Since book 2, really, I thought book 3 was great. Yeah, okay.
I think book 1.
Same. You're on Path of Daggers. Nice. Is it a first time or a reread? Because I'm on a reread, baby. A Warrior's Apprentice, Mark, was phenomenal. I loved it. Thanks for recommending it. I wanted to immediately start book 2, but I need to slip in one more Ender Shadow book and the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and then I can start book 2. Book 6 in your reread. Nice. Haven't read Silo, maybe?
Haven't read Wheel of Time before. It's his first read.
First read through. Okay.
That's awesome. I got through the first six books, and then I took
my
a break
favorite
to
fantasy
read,
series of all time.
I took a break to read the Stormlight Archive in anticipation for this last book.
Sand is even better. Okay.
And now I'm going back to reread them because it's been too long.
Dude, but Donald in Shift is so good. Such a good character.
Nice. I need to read those.
I would. So Shad Brooks is my white whale. I'm a much smaller YouTuber, but I would love to do a collaboration with him.
Shad is great.
If I could go on his show, if he could come on mine, I would love it. So
I've been watching Shad since he was a relatively small channel.
Yeah, me too.
That's great.
I think Shad. I might have watched Shad before I started reading Brandon Sanderson. I think.
Oh yeah, me too. Way before.
Okay.
I read Shad's book before I started reading Brandon Sanderson.
You guys were watching him long before I did. I actually got into his political commentary before his sword stuff. Like I was watching the secondary channel where they just talked about stuff like this, and then I found out he made swords, and I was like, okay. And then I watched like all of his Shadiversary. But that was maybe like
so you're really recent
3 years ago.
Swords and castles and machiculations. And
I disagree. I really like Shadow of the Conqueror. I think it's a great book.
Oh, it is amazing, and really good first book. I mean, like
you can see a lot of,
but it's his first book.
A lot of inspiration from Brandon Sanderson, honestly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
it'd be funny though, because if we ever collabed, it would probably be about like us both being Mormons instead of anything nerdy. But
yeah. Oh man, that blew my mind when I heard he was a member.
Anyway.
Yep.
Okay, back to this, because someone has had us muted for an hour while we haven't been talking about Brandon Sanderson. Okay. I need to reinvent myself. No, you don't. You don't. If people like it, just keep doing that. Okay?
Yeah.
He broke down an example that would ruffle feathers. Sidelighting Kaladin Stormblessed. Oh, right. In Wind and Truth. Right. Because he's not in the book.
Yeah.
He becomes a battery in this book and plays the flute while the world is ending.
So stupid.
That was horrible. Kaladin.
Yeah.
Stormblessed. Right there.
That's
one of the greatest characters of all time. And you ruined him. Hey, I'm going to take literally everyone's favorite character and do nothing with him this book because it's the artistic choice. Come on, man.
It's a bit of a different tistic, if you know what I mean.
Daring choices were necessary, not just for Wind and Truth, but for the Stormlight Archive as a whole. There's a lot more that are kind of like that, and I hope you know readers who don't even see structure are going to be like, something's weird about this book. Yeah, because it sucked. Because I want the book to be one where people get done and they're not sure what's going on and where the series is going anymore, because I knew the series needed that book 5 sort of change of status quo if I was going to do 10 books.
That doesn't make any sense for the 5th book wrapping up an entire story arc.
Right. That would make sense. That would make sense if all 10 books were focusing on these characters, but they're not. Right. Book 6 is focusing on completely different characters. This is the end of Kaladin's... Well, it's not. He's going to be involved extraneously, okay?
Sure,
but this was the end. This wasn't just he was sidelined for one book and he'll be back next time. No, this is the end of his story.
Yeah.
And you sidelined him.
It could have been perfectly fine for him to go off and do whatever the crap he was doing in this book in the next series, right?
Absolutely.
But you don't want people wondering at the end of a story arc where the series is going. That's not...
It's not true.
What?
Okay.
What
it is a common okay, the problem is there are a handful of members of the church who do believe this, and it's because they're stupid. It is not part of our doctrine, but there are some people, and it's been picked up by people who don't like our church, that Bigfoot is Cain.
Oh yeah,
and it's it's false doctrine. It is not true, but it's a common thing that people say about Mormons is that we believe that Bigfoot is Cain, from Cain and Abel Cain. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Writing out
Yeah.
rock,
I
yes.
don't know.
Autistic, that's me. What is the time jump for the next series? I think he said 15, 20 years. Maybe 10 to 20 years. We don't know exactly. The world is in a time bubble because the fight was so big that there's a time bubble around Roshar now. Or not Roshar.
Yeah, Roshar.
No, is the planet called Roshar?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't remember. It's been
Or sorry.
Main
ages.
planet, or are you talking about?
No, but the whole solar system. This.
Oh, gotcha.
It's not Scadrial. That's Mistborn.
Adriel is Mistborn. It's Roshar.
I thought there was a different name for the universe, but okay.
Oh, maybe
No, the cosmos is universe.
for his
Yeah.
the
So
Rosharian.
there's the Rosharan
yeah.
solar
Their
system.
solar system.
I
Okay.
think it's
I don't know.
Rosharan still.
There's a Mistborn-like time bubble around them now. It's dumb. When in truth, criticism that so there was criticism that surprised him. There's one piece of feedback I've gotten that has surprised me, and it's very rare that I'm surprised. It's that the prose in book 5 feeling a bit more modern. Yeah, because you didn't even try. You talked about therapy.
Yeah.
The betas didn't spot it, or you have bad beta readers. That's the one I've been looking at and saying, all right, do I need to reevaluate? Yes. Okay. He's listening to one criticism and ignoring all the rest because it was on purpose. Like, I like listening to the fandom and things, and I do think I've been inching more and more modern because in my head, the Cosmere is going more and more modern. No, but this wasn't a problem in books 1 through 4. And all of a sudden, your last book, the language was you had slidey lady, what's her name? Everyone hates her.
Lift.
It's Lift.
Lift.
It's Brandon, for some reason, his favorite character. Lift was using modern swear words.
Yeah.
She was using shit. And other, I can't remember the exact, that's the one I know is in there. There's a few other swear words. And
that's honestly
and
the
she
best
says,
part.
and someone says, where did she learn that? She learned it from Vasher. Vasher is teaching her modern swear words instead of teaching her swear words from his home world.
Yeah.
He should be saying colors, not shit.
Yeah.
And that could be so cool if she had been. That's dumb. If he had been teaching her actual.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of fantasy books is learning about the different swear words in their cultures, because they can be so creative with all the different things that they, that becomes a curse to them. And it's wonderful. It's a great part of writing. You don't actually have to have swear words in your book, but they're swear words in this culture and they make sense and it's great. And Brandon Sanderson is actually really good at coming out with swear words.
Right. This isn't even true. People will say it feels more young adult. No one has said this.
Yeah. I mean, maybe in terms
That's
of
not.
language,
Why does he think
that's
that would be the criticism? That makes no sense.
Because it's not as good, maybe? I don't know.
The joke that he knew would be a step too far. I haven't read all of this. I read the first part.
Yeah.
Therapist. The therapist.
That's the joke.
That's the joke.
I love the therapist joke.
The word therapist doesn't exist on Roshar, but he uses it anyway. Okay, because Hoyd brings it up. The problem is, Hoyd says therapist, and Kaladin says, what's that? And then for the rest of the book, Kaladin uses the word therapist like he knows what it means. And you're like, but he just said he didn't know what that meant.
Yeah. And even if he now knows what it means, nobody else in the world knows what it means.
Also, it wasn't a joke. It was just dumb.
Yeah.
The worst joke was your chol vagina joke.
Yeah. That was actually played off as a joke.
I knew that it was a step too far for people, but sometimes you just have to do things that make you smile. I intentionally made my book worse.
I don't get that.
Okay. What a horrible interview. But the worst part was people started talking about it and he started responding on Reddit.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I really am. This is not fun. This is not the fun part of the stream. Okay? Someone sidelining Cal. I thought most people liked Cal's storyline. No one did. Okay. Here. I thought most people's complaint was the Jasna debate. And maybe the gay couple and modern language, okay? So this is him responding about the Jasna debate, which is horrible. Jasna,
I don't know what
her.
It's
So
Jasna.
what's Jasna's defining characteristic, Charles?
I forget. It's been a while. I
She's
forget who
the
Jasna is.
studious.
she's the character who's too smart for her own good.
Yeah.
Which
She's the studious one.
She's the one that teaches
Studious.
Shallan in book
Yeah.
1.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Jasna. She's incredibly smart for her own good, and she's
She's very
100%.
book savvy.
What a-
Okay.
Yeah.
That's her only characteristic is she's so smart. She's so book smart.
Yeah.
Okay? She's so book smart it gets her into trouble because she's not good socially, right?
Yeah.
And she hates religion. Her finale in this book is having a debate with Odium. But the problem is Brandon Sanderson isn't good at debate. And it makes his character, who's supposed to look smart, look like an idiot. Because she literally loses a debate to Odium, and Odium's argument is like high school freshman level argument. His argument is basically the equivalent of, if God exists, then why do bad things happen to good people?
Oh my goodness. You kidding me?
It's not a one-to-one. That's basically what his argument is. Like analogously, okay?
Okay,
It's
so
that
it's
stupid.
as bad as that.
And
Okay,
she
okay,
doesn't
okay.
know how to respond to it. Hey, we got the angry Mexa. Buenos
Hey.
noches. Did you get everything moved, or are you still moving, man?
He's got to pay those coyotes.
Yeah, it literally made me depressed. She is too analytical, okay? And she couldn't win a fight. Like, his argument was it wasn't that was an analogous comparison. The actual argument was you say you're a good person, but you made one mistake, and that makes you a hypocrite. So this person you're trying to convince to trust you shouldn't trust you because you made one mistake. And that makes you, as a person, a hypocrite. And she doesn't know how to argue against that. It's easy. You say, no, making mistakes doesn't make you a hypocrite. It makes you human, because all humans make mistakes. And sometimes, and that's what's part of being human, is learning from your mistakes and not repeating them. And she should say, yes, I did make one mistake, but I won't make that with this person who I need to trust because I've learned from that experience. And also, that's not the definition of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is requiring standards from other people that you yourself are not willing to live by.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's the problem, is the modern language interpretation of hypocrisy is not that. People misunderstand hypocrisy. They think that a hypocrite is someone like a Christian saying pornography is bad and then having a moment of weakness where they look at porn. That's not hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Hypocrisy is saying you're not allowed to do it and then you doing it constantly. Hypocrisy
Yes,
is
unapologetically.
repeatedly, unapologetically forcing people to live by a standard that you don't believe in.
Yeah.
It's not having a moment of weakness and not living up to your own standards. Brandon Sanderson thinks that hypocrisy means not living up to your own standards. And that's not what hypocrisy is. Because guess what?
Right.
If that's the definition of hypocrisy, every single person on earth is a hypocrite. We all fall short of our own standards, and we specifically fall short of God's standards. And that's why they are higher than ours. And that's why that's why God is important to believe in, because he helps lift us up, and we become better people because of his standard. If we live by our own standards, we're not going to be good people.
Yeah.
Okay?
Being a
He's still
hypocrite
moving.
is not just, giving up on your New Year's resolutions. It's deeper.
Evil's
than that.
Bane, $1.99. Thank you so much for the super chat. One of my new favorite channels. I'm glad you found us, man. Thanks.
Heck yeah.
Thank
Hope
you.
you stick around, man. Shalom,
Tuning
not
in.
Shalom.
Shabbat. I don't know enough Yiddish to know the difference between shalom and Shabbat, but I assume you're backing up my
Shabbat-
metaphor.
Shabbat
Wait.
is Sabbath, right?
Shalom is a greeting or a.
Dude,
or a-
we're praying-
I
we're
believe,
praying for
and
you, man.
Shabbat is the Sabbath, I believe. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Shabbat, Sabbath. I don't understand. Did he say Shabbat accidentally? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not Jewish enough to know what you're talking about, man.
I only know that from The Chosen.
I only know a teeny tiny bit of Hebrew, okay?
Yeah.
The prayers are working. Man, looking forward to I hope you're doing great, man. We love you, man.
We do.
We need you to
Yep.
watch bad TV with us again. I want to make your life worse. Please. Don't be friends with me, man. I don't know why you're friends with me. I force you to watch horrible things.
Is this why the only people on your show are your family?
Yep.
Okay.
Kidding.
So anyway, that's sorry for the huge diversion, which is the context for this scene that he's going to defend.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if it was just a regular person, I don't know how to debate the devil, okay? But the devil is coming out with these grade school arguments, and Jasna's entire character is, I'm smart. And the problem is, when you have a smart character, you can only write them as intelligent as you are. And apparently, Brandon Sanderson isn't very intelligent when it comes to moral ethics.
Yeah.
Which is shocking, because we're both from the same religion.
Yeah.
And so she's completely defeated by this grade school debate tactic that it isn't. It's so bad. Like, he's clearly never studied the Socratic method, and it's embarrassing. And you know that Jasna, if Socrates existed, would have studied the Socratic method, okay? And he says, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't get into the artsy-fartsy about it because I have an English major, BS, whatever. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the
Brandon Sanderson?
nitty-gritty. Yeah, this is Brandon Sanderson,
Okay.
author. Okay?
Oh, gotcha.
He didn't ask me, like, he's like, hey, ask me questions, okay?
Well, wait, hold on. That doesn't make sense. I've listened to his lectures, and he tells you to become like a 50% expert on a subject if you're going to
Well,
write
he didn't
about it.
study debate at all.
And then consult an expert.
Okay, he didn't do that. And the problem is, people told him it was a problem. And he knew it was a problem, and he's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's something, the Yiddish? Okay. Or we could talk about good TV like Murderbot. We're going to get there, but we have to kick Charles out first. Okay.
I think that's the last thing to talk about.
It was good. Okay, Murderbot was good. I really liked it. And it seems like it's
For
going to
the
be
most part.
mostly accurate to the book. There are some problems. They didn't need the weird
Yeah.
what do they call it? A
Threesome,
poly. They didn't need a
poly, yeah.
threesome poly couple, but I like that Murderbot makes fun of them and says, "Wow, that's gross." Okay. Okay, Kaladin won't be there. Okay. He's defending this. Kaladin's not going to be there. He literally says he's learning to play the flute while Adolin is going through hell and the world is ending. but I thought it was important to sideline him. Shallan seems to be backsliding in a way that doesn't make sense. And the reveal for this was stupid. And it wasn't satisfactory. And also the problem, that's not even the problem with her character. The problem with her character is that she spends the entire book doing nothing except shipping a gay romance.
Yeah.
In the dream world. Okay? She doesn't have a plot until the very end, and then her plot twist is stupid. A giant war is going on, and Kaladin is playing the flute. And Dalinar isn't even participating.
Really?
Yes. Until the very, very end. Okay? So the pacing is strange by intention because I wanted you to feel off. Instead of an opening action sequence, as is common in Stormlight books. What are you talking about? Stormlight books notoriously start off very, very slow.
Yeah.
They're slow builds, and it's okay because the payoff is so good. This one was slow, and the payoff was bullcrap. $4.99 from Mark Locke. Thank you so much. This article is making me feel like when you see somebody kick a puppy, sad and angry. I know. I'm sorry. I will try and zoom through it, but I need to vent. Okay, Shallan, jerky jump between viewpoints. I don't care. Okay, language is far too modern. I recognize I did a thing. People didn't like the gap. No, he thinks... He didn't learn anything from criticism. He's not listening to the real criticism, and he thinks that people had problems with things that weren't problems, and he's refusing to see the problems that people actually had. They are still in Shadesmar in Wind and Truth, or is the dream world a new place? Okay, a lot of it is in Shadesmar, but now there's a third realm called the spiritual realm. And Dalinar spends the whole book in it, and Shallan spends the whole book in it doing nothing. She just follows around Renarin and Merlane, who are having a gay romance, and she's clapping. She literally claps for them. Says, yay, they're so happy. And also, they save the world by being gay. They convince the Night Sister, or whatever this big spirit was corrupting Spren.
Yeah.
She convinces that spirit, or Renarin and Merlane do a Romeo and Juliet, and they say, no, you can't destroy the world because look at us. We're different and we're gay for each other. So don't destroy the world. And she says, okay, I won't do that. They save the world by being gay. And Shallan claps. And she gets butterflies in her stomach when they hold hands. Yes, Relaine and Renarin are gay. And Drehi grooms children.
As well as Lift.
That's why I said plural. He grooms Lift and Renarin.
Right. Well, Lift looks like a child, but she's older. But
and
also, yeah,
Lift grooms Gavilar. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yes, queens. Okay. The point was he's not listening to any of the actual criticism. And then he says, here, regardless, I'm confident that the choice in champion was the right choice. He thinks that there's a twist at the end about who the bad guy's champion was, and he thinks people didn't like that choice. No, I actually thought it was a good choice. The problem was the reason why it was allowed was really stupid. It doesn't make sense. It was like a plot hole for like why it happened. And I don't hate that it happened. I hate why it happened. It's the same thing. They didn't understand why people didn't like the ending of Game of Thrones. Like, no, it makes sense. It's just that the way you got there was stupid. Okay, I'm still undecided on Jasna. I took 3 stabs at that sequence, the horrible sequence I just described, with beta readers' feedback, and it was very controversial there too. And I still don't know if people are just unwilling to let Jasna lose, not the problem, or if there's a better way to write the sequence. Bingo! That's it! It was horrible. Probably a mix of... No, that's not it. I don't care that Jasna loses. I care that she was bad at debate. Because I kind of liked the idea that her climax was a debate, because it fit her character, and then she was retarded. And it didn't fit her character. Okay? Taravangian is doing Echo... Sorry, I missed a line. Okay, should probably have pushed back harder on Jasna is off kilter. So he's like... I should have made it clear that she wasn't on her game. And that's why she lost to Teravangian Devil. No, but like I could have made a better argument in high school.
Yeah.
It's
I
basic
think-
debate. The Teravangian odium wasn't even like creating a postulate. Like his entire argument could not hold itself up. His argument was self-referential and so what's the word for it? Sorry, it's been a long time since I've actually done debate stuff.
Ad hominem?
No, but it like the premises didn't hold up the conclusion. Whatever the word for that is.
Right.
It didn't work. We're still yes, I'm sorry, we're almost done. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's really bad, but he kept responding and saying like, "Oh, his responses literally, yes, I knew it was a problem, but I did it anyway because I'm smarter than you."
Yeah.
Every single one of these, like, it's making me like him less and less, and I loved him, okay? This is dumb. Then,
Yeah, I'm aware of the arguments as they were in the beta read.
but I think I'm better than you.
Yeah.
It was so
That's pretty
depressing.
sad.
What is this talking about? This is no. I don't really need to know about Fen. Yes, here we go. Oh, let's see if we actually address it. This is a good guy. Okay. What's his response? That's a valid complaint. If I were to rebut, it's to say they are common, but I don't think they're easy to... Oh, you're an idiot.
What's he saying?
He's saying...
They're too easy to
this
refute
guy
until they aren't.
is saying what I said. There's no way that Jasna couldn't have argued against utilitarianism. And he says it's a very common argument. And he says, yes, it is a common argument in debate, but it's also, that doesn't mean that it's easy to refute. Yes, it is.
There are many people who don't see that. There are many people who think that because they made one big mistake, they see themselves as a hypocrite. It's common to see people who can't refute it. But anybody who is intelligent, as Jasna was, would easily be able to refute it.
Yeah.
Anyone who
He's
bothers
comparing.
to learn
Look, he
anything
literally
about-
brings up my comparison that it's like, why does God exist? Right? He says, look, I've had an experience with my religion that I think my religion is true, and the common refutation is that's confirmation bias, and the only response I can think of is, yeah, I understand that, but I don't think it is confirmation bias. He doesn't know anything about debate.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad.
I think part of the problem too is some of the answers to those deep philosophical questions and conundrums come back to religion, right? And Jasna is anti-religious specifically.
Yeah. Well, no, I made the religious comparison.
I know, but Jasna in the book
Sure.
is specifically
Well, even
I
still,
made
you're
an
talking about
analog.
being
I
a
said
good person.
the argument is similar to a religious analogous comparison. The
Right.
argument he was making had nothing to do with religion.
well, I think it does.
No, it had to do with
tangentially.
hypocrisy. His argument was, you're a hypocrite, so your friend shouldn't trust you. And she says, I guess so, and loses the debate.
Yeah.
That has
I think-
nothing. That has nothing to do with religion. I made an analogous comparison to an equally lazy argument against religion.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think if you're talking about morality and
I am. I'm on Rumble
being
and
hypocrite or
X
whatnot,
and
I think
YouTube.
I think it's hard to talk about that without having a religious.
Rhythm of bass.
No.
We're done. We're done.
We're done. We're good.
Come back.
Yeah.
My chocolates. I didn't mean what I said.
So Murderbot.
Yeah,
Bye, Charles.
Yeah, is that all?
that's it. Yeah,
I think
it's very sad.
Murderbot.
All right.
I had one more point that wasn't that was spoiler free. Yeah, he's not writing for his audience anymore. He's writing. He wants to be an author's author. He wants to be well respected in the writing community, and that's the thing. He didn't need to because he already was. He already was well respected because he's the most successful living author right now. It's crazy how much success he has. What made you successful?
I think there is something to be said about that, though, because there's lots of people, other authors, that didn't see him as a valid author because he was just writing science fiction,
And they weren't reading his
wasn't
books.
very good at prose, which I agree with.
They aren't the ones reading his books.
But that's the problem. The people that are reading the
this
books is what really matters. It's not the other authors.
This is the same kind of mindset that killed art, that made modern art, made the whole objectivism, just weird shapes, throw stuff on the canvas and call it art.
Yeah.
It's
Is
not
such a
good.
loaded question.
Nobody thinks it looks good, but except for people who are art collectors who think that it's good because just because it's said that it's good. It's the same type of people who buy name brands. It's not a good shoe. They only buy a good shoe because it's a name brand. It's completely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the other
it's forgetting what the thing is for.
And this is spoiler free, in case you've unmuted. The other problem is their specific problem with Wind and Truth is it feels like the book is Brandon Sanderson expressing his doubts of his own religion. And I only know that because we are of the same religion. And one of the big themes of our religion is oaths are important. And the theme of this book was oaths are not important. And it was really, really weird to see that coming from a Mormon perspective, where you're like, that's the opposite of what we believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
And I've admired him for
with
so
the
long
owner's
because
friend.
a lot of,
Okay, top 10. Okay, here's the problem with this question. Do you mean my top 10 favorite authors, or who do I believe are the top 10 best authors? Because you can have a personal favorite like Brandon Sanderson and also acknowledge he's not the most, his writing isn't the greatest, You can enjoy something. So, yes, they are very important from a Mormon perspective. And this book just abandons that.
Yeah.
So it's sad to see. Okay, top 10. I'm just going to give you favorites because that's easier to answer. Okay? Because here goes the other problem. If you do who do I think is one of the greatest authors of all time? Unfortunately, I think Patrick Rothfuss is one of the greatest living authors. I think his books are pure art, and he's a total douchebag. I don't like him as a person, and he can't write the third book. That doesn't change the fact that his prose is absolute freaking poetry.
Yeah.
So, my top 10 favorite authors. Brandon Sanderson would have made that list. Not anymore. I'm so mad at him. What is this? You've read to read the last 2 Stormlight Archives? Those are the worst ones. I'm sorry, man. Favorite authors.
Fourth book was still okay.
Robert Jordan, number 1.
I enjoyed 4.
Robert Jordan, number 1. I absolutely love The Wheel of Time. I'm gonna forget someone, and I'm gonna feel real bad. Number 2, I would. Brandon Sanderson would have been number 1, and he's not on the list anymore. Okay, Robert Jordan, favorite author. Orson Scott Card, probably number 2, of my personal taste. I just love what that man writes. Man, I still am tempted to put Patrick Rothfuss. I loved those books so much. Oh, and he's such a douchebag. Okay, if we don't include Patrick Rothfuss, I gotta pull up a list just to make sure I'm not forgetting. Let's see. I mean, Tolkien is fantastic.
What books does Patrick Rothfuss write?
Name of the Wind.
He's only written 2 books.
2 books and 2.5 novellas. It's the name.
Sorry,
of the wind.
did you? The
name of the wind is the first one. It's the King Killer.
It's one of the greatest books of all time.
Oh,
dude.
the King Killer Chronicles.
Yeah,
I've heard a little bit about it.
It's so good. The name of the wind is the first one, and then what's the second one? It's not Doors of Stone. That's the third one that is never coming out.
Okay, so
second book.
Okay, okay. What have I said? I've said Robert
Jordan, and
who did I say?
That's it.
No, I had number 2.
You said Robert Jordan. You said
Did you?
Orson Scott Card.
Okay, Robert Jordan,
That's right.
Orson Scott Card.
And you said Tolkien.
Yeah, Tolkien's like a cop-out, though. He's like the greatest of all time. I don't think he should make the list. I love him. I also haven't read enough of him. I've only read the Lord of
Fears.
all I've read is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Hobbit, and the Silmarillion. I feel like I would need to read more of him. But he's unbeatable. Okay. So Robert Jordan, Orson Scott Card. Put Tolkien on the list of my top 10 favorite authors. You got to go with. I'm having a complete brain fart, but Discworld. Terry Pratchett.
Terry Pratchett. Yep.
Love Terry Pratchett with all my heart. It's still early because he's kind of a newer author, and I've only read the first 2 books in his series, but I loved them. I really like Zamil Akhtar. He does Middle Eastern
that's
fantasy. That's Gunmetal Gods.
Gunmetal Gods. Yeah.
He is such an interesting voice, and it's so unique.
Yeah.
The setting is unique. The story and the way he approaches storytelling is so freaking unique. That's got to make my top 10. I liked Lightbringer so much. I've got to put Brent Weeks on the list. I've got 4 more.
I really need to read his Angel Saga too.
I've got 4 more I can include.
You haven't said Matt Dinniman yet. Where does he fit in?
Oh yeah, Matt Dinniman. I mean, but like one series though, but it's really good.
It's a good series.
Okay, yeah, Matt Dinniman.
No, he done 2. He did.
I haven't read it though.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But Matt Dinniman's fantastic.
What did Matt Dinniman do?
Dungeon Crawler
Carl completely absorbed my
it.
life for like 3 months, and that's all it took for me to read all the books.
It's good. It's good, bro.
Okay, I've got 3 left. I got and I've only read 4 of his books, but I'm planning on reading a whole lot more. But I really liked everything I've read from Joe Abercrombie.
Okay.
The first Law trilogy, and I read Best Served Cold because that's getting an adaptation. Who wrote Maze Runner? No, I don't care. I have not read Simon Green. Let's see, and I've got 2
what
left.
about the solo books? The
what?
The solo books.
Solo?
The Silo. Sorry, I did it again.
No,
Silo books.
I really liked it. I don't know if Hugh Howey would be one of my favorite authors of all time. It was a really, really good book, and I think his one character is fantastic. I don't know if that makes him the favorite author of all time.
What about Frank Herbert? Dune.
Oh, I've fanboyed over him enough. He should probably be on the list, Frank Herbert. And
has he written anything besides Dune? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know anything else he's written.
I haven't read anything other than Dune, and I've got 1 left. I don't think Douglas Adams makes the list. He's too nihilistic. I like him. He's too nihilistic. I much prefer Terry Pratchett to Douglas Adams. There's the problem isn't thinking of a new one; it's thinking of who gets that last spot, right?
Yeah.
Which one deserves it? I would have to say I don't think about favorites often either. Is the thing,
Yeah.
because it depends on what mood you're in. And recency bias is also a big part of that. But that was a good series. Let's see. Who gets number 5? It's crazy that Brandon Sanderson isn't on the list.
Yeah. See, Mark Clark says Robert Jordan, Marion Zimmer Bradley. She's the one that did that Arthurian Legends thing, right? The Miss of Avalon, right?
You're stressing me out. Now I have to think of the last one. Why would you ask such a horrible question? You're a scumbag. I hope you like what
Louis
you've done.
McMaster is.
I hope you like just completely derailing the whole stream. I hope you feel good about yourself.
The Bejeweled series.
Is it
You're welcome if you can derail this stream.
okay? Is it cheating to say my number 10 is Clive Barker? I feel like that's cheating because I've only read the one book, but it's so good, The Thief of Always.
Yeah.
And he's only written like 3 books because he's a horror director. The guy who did Hellraiser wrote a kid's book called Thief of Always, and it's really good.
It's really good.
I think I'm gonna cop out. I'm gonna go C.S. Lewis.
Oh yeah.
That's a cop out though. That doesn't feel good. I love him. I love the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
That feels like
A lot
cheating. I can't put C.S. Lewis and Tolkien as on my top 10 though. That feels like I'm not making a choice. That feels like a total
That's a
cop
cop-out.
out.
Yeah. It's crazy though that Jesus is
I've
on
read
the list.
way more than the Chronicles of Narnia from him though. Some of
He's
his other
fantastic.
essays
He's
and
really
stuff are
good.
Fantastic, yeah. The Screwtape Letters, the Abolition of Man, the what was the other one that about Christianity? I don't remember what it's called.
The other thing is I'm not super well read because I'm dyslexic and I read really, really slowly. And I loved reading all throughout elementary and middle school, and then I got to high school and they made me read a bunch of sexually inappropriate stuff, and I stopped reading. High school ruined books for me. I just used Spark Notes or Cliff Notes all throughout college, and it wasn't until recently that I started picking. Brandon Sanderson got me back into reading. Someone said, hey, read this. I loved it, and I read all of his books. And then after that, I discovered audiobooks, and now in the last 3 years, I've read exponentially more books. No, he's free to tell him he can come back in. We're not talking about Stormlight anymore. I've read so many books now, like in these last 3 years than I've ever read my entire life. So I'm trying to catch up. I'm trying to catch up and read all the stuff that I should have been reading my whole life, and I didn't. I read Ender's Game in elementary school about 12 times in spite of my dyslexia. And then high school ruined it.
Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned Terry Pratchett initially, and I don't think we listed him in when we were making your actual 10.
Yes, I did.
Didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
I
Yeah,
was counting on my fingers. I said
Okay.
That was number 4 or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point of the story is Murderbot's good.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. We'll see you guys. See you next week.
I missed
Murderbot.
the comments for the last like 10 minutes because I was trying to think, because you made me think. Oh, you know who should be on the list? Sorry, Dan Simmons, Hyperion, and I've only read 2 of his books, but they were absolute perfection.
Okay.
Hyperion is probably the greatest sci-fi book ever written.
Oh man, the buzzing.
Yeah,
went
Charles
away as soon as
really
Charles left.
you need to mail him that microphone, bud.
Well, he's coming here next month,
Okay, I guess we'll give it to him.
so
He has 2 microphones, and one of them sounds like that, and I didn't even realize that the stream sounded horrible until he left.
yeah. Sorry about that, everyone.
It's now nice and peaceful.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Murderbot was mostly good. I really like the actor that's playing
It's all
Murderbot and his
Skarsgård.
his
I don't know
intonation in his
which
voice.
Skarsgård it is, but it really doesn't matter because they're all good.
Yeah. Read first Hyperion.
Deathstalker books. You got to read the second one. Is it Fall of Hyperion? Yeah. Read book 2. Slightly not as good as Hyperion, but it finishes the story. Like Hyperion's 10 out of 10. Fall of Hyperion's like a 9.5 out of 10. It's just not quite as poetic, but it answers all the questions that you have, and it's really, really freaking good. I loved Hyperion.
Nice.
So the point of the story, Murderbot, right? So
Yeah.
I just finished the second book because looking at the trailers, it looks like season 1 is mostly just book 1, but then I saw a couple of shots that made me think they might also be adapting book 2. So I read it just in case, and then after reading it, I'm like, it depends on like how much screen time they have, because these are like 20-minute episodes. How many episodes do they have total?
I don't know.
It is
They released 2.
9.
this
It's
first-
10. So it's 10 episodes, 10 20-minute episodes. They might be doing books 1 and 2, and I think that would make that would actually be a really good season. You could stretch out book 1 for the whole season. I think the book's only like 4 hours long. It's a
shorter novel.
but
Oh, I've
I
heard
think
good
a
things about
good
Red Rising.
solid season 1 would be books 1 and 2. Also because I want them to get to the best character, which is Art. Awesome. And that's only in book 2. I really liked Murderbot book 1. I'd say it's like a solid 7 out of 10. I think book 2 is like a 9 out of 10. Book 2 was really fun. I've heard good things about Red Rising too. I haven't read it.
Yeah.
The show. I was surprised that you sent me this article because I feel like it nails the tone.
Really? Yeah, I sent it to you because I wanted you to comment on it.
The Murderbot showrunners say they nailed the book's tricky tone by ignoring it. I think this is them just kind of talking out of their butts.
Yeah.
I think it's them being modest.
Sure.
I
That
think
makes sense.
the title is making it sound more offensive than it is, because I think it's spot on tonally. And I think maybe it's them being modest, saying like it's hard because it's a sci-fi comedy drama. Like there's funny bits, but it's also serious, and that is a hard tone to capture. And so I can see them saying like, "Oh, look, maybe we didn't want to just like focus so hard on capturing the tone that we shackle ourselves, that we become a slave to it, and then it ends up not being good." So I can see them making a statement like this, and I feel like out of context, this makes it sound worse than it is. Because this is true. If you're focusing so hard on making sure you get the tone right, it's going to affect your writing.
Yeah.
This sounds like, right? It kind of sounds like they're being modest. It's like, oh, like, yeah, maybe we got the tone right because we didn't hyperfixate on it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Murderbot is fun. The books are really fun, and I think the show has been pretty fun so far. and it's pretty darn faithful to the books. I loved when I did the reaction to the trailer. Everyone was upset. There were two people that were upset with me. Most people weren't upset, but the two people that were upset, there were people who saw the trailer and said, "Oh, I was really excited until he took his helmet off, and now I'm not excited. Why don't people learn from The Mandalorian?" Oh, you mean the show where he takes his helmet off sometimes? It's completely book accurate that he takes his helmet off and that he has a human face. They're like, why can't it just be a bot? It's because they're stupid. It's book accurate. That's an invalid complaint. The other complaint was, why? Because the whole people were complaining that he's supposed to be a non-binary LGBTP character, and you're like, no, that's not the case.
He's just a robot.
He's he was written to be neurodivergent. And the author herself has said that is not true. What happened was I tried to write a robot who by definition is going to diverge from our neurals. He's not going to think like a human thinks. So in trying to write a character that doesn't think like a human, definitionally neurodivergent, okay, she discovered that she is slightly autistic because she was really good at writing like someone who isn't normal. Yeah. So she retroactively discovered that her character has some things in common with people who are autistic. She didn't write the character to be autistic.
Yeah.
But people are putting the cart before the horse and saying, why didn't you cast an autist in the role? He needs to be genderless and neurodivergent. And those people are idiots. And they said, you could have done, and I was getting heat in my video because the book's really short. You should have read it before making this video. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was a novella. I did 4 hours of research, reading the author's own comments and reading interviews that she did and learning about the plot of the book before I made that video. And I used clips from the author saying, this is how I wrote it. And people saying, you're an idiot if you wrote this. You could have just read the book. I'm like, I'm reading it now.
Yeah.
So
that's silly.
Everyone's stupid who's complaining about it. It's pretty darn faithful to the book so far. There was a scene in the first episode that worried me. That was like, oh, it sounds like they're not going to be able to adapt book 2 if they make this change. And then they fixed it in the second episode. It was like, oh, okay, I see. Book 2 can still work. And other than that, yeah, they put in a little bit of gay stuff.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't super prevalent, and Murderbot thinks it's gross, which is kind of the point.
Yeah.
What I think they're doing is there are two. So in the first book, he helps this group of people. And in the second book, it's kind of similar. He helps another group of scientists on a different mission.
Okay.
I think they're turning those two groups into the same group. Because the second group is kind of like this. They're all kind of like a family thing, you know?
Yeah.
And he comments on it like, I don't like sex. I don't like it when anytime humans start doing that, I tune out. And when I'm watching movies, I skip over the sex scenes because I don't want to be like the sex bots. I'm not one of those. I'm a murder bot. I murder. He doesn't even have genitalia, right? And someone
were very very clearly pointed out.
He gets some modifications in the second book to try and like fly under, because he doesn't want people to know that he's hacked his governor module. He gets modifications in the second book to try and look more human so he doesn't get discovered. And they try the art. It's another robot guy. Well, it's a computer. I won't spoil stuff, but he tries to say, hey, if you really want to blend in, I should give you genitals. And he's like, no, No. I won't. I don't want those. I'm not. I don't like that stuff.
That's hilarious. Yeah, the gay scene in here was
It was dumb.
really really weird, really awkward, and completely uh, un unrealistic too. Because the two lesbians are
I feel like they kind of played into that though. They made it awkward so that like
Well-
from the robot's perspective, we could like, why are we watching this? Skip,
sure,
and then
but-
and
but
that's what he
didn't make
does.
sense- What didn't make sense is the two lesbians were going off to do their thing, and the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I want a piece of that." I'm like, "What are you looking at, dude?"
Yeah,
Like,
and also they're both hideous,
Right.
And he's good looking. You're like, why would you want
Like-
in on this?
yeah, it was gross.
Yeah,
But I did like that, the other more androgynous lesbian in there was very obviously the third wheel in this relationship.
it was
Um,
kind of funny too. That like, it also kind of indicative of those types of relationships. They don't
Yeah.
last. Infidelity does not work very
Yeah.
well.
So
So
it-
super
it
based actually.
it was awkward. I didn't like it, but it was also, in the way that they portrayed it is
I've not.
fine.
I've only read the first two Hyperion books. I'm going to read more, Dan Simmons. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I loved
I've
it.
had several people recommend Red Rising to me.
Red Rising is not Dan Simmons, different series, but
Okay.
I've also I have it, haven't read it yet. I would highly recommend the Murderbot books. Mark Clark loves them. It's just dumb fun. It's a really interesting. It's a pretty unique take on a very common trope, right? Like, hey, robots gaining sentience. It's been done all over fantasy or sci-fi. This one feels really unique because it kind of takes that comedic angle. It doesn't take itself too seriously. He just wants to watch TV all the time. The best lines, one of the best lines is like, hey, how come you didn't notice this security flaw? Like, we could have been hurt. And he's like, well, the truth was I didn't notice because I wasn't watching. But I can't tell them that,
Yeah.
So I'm saying a polythrouple wouldn't work? No, it doesn't. So. Oh, and the fake shows, the fake scenes from what is it? No. The moon, Jupiter's moon? What's the show? What's the fake show in Murderbot?
I don't know. There's several.
It's not Sailor Moon. What is it? What is the show called? Murderbot show. Mark Clark's gonna type it before I can find it on Google.
Yep.
It's hilarious. Oh, the rise and fall of Jupiter Moon. That's not it. What is it? The rise and fall of Sailor Moon. Come on. Something Moon. Anyway, those scenes are hilarious. And it's kind of, that's why it kind of felt like it was drawing parallels between that and the dumb relationship that's clearly doomed,
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's, what do you think? Because I've read the books, so I want to hear more about what you think.
No, I really like it. I like the like I said, the gay stuff was awkward, but I think they made fun of that it was awkward.
It was very short too.
And and it wasn't graphic or anything. It's just kind of there. But I really like his portrayal and the voice that he does. That's very it's not a typical robot voice.
No, it's not.
But I really like what he's doing with it. So, and I was upset a little bit because it showed 3 episodes
Yeah.
on Apple Plus, and I'm like, oh man, they dropped
I was
3
like, too.
episodes, and then they were so short. I'm like, oh man, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't
watch the next
expecting.
one.
I wasn't
And then the
expecting
third one
20-minute
was terrible.
episodes.
I know it's really
Like,
short.
they're like 25. So if they're short, it might still just be book one, which would
Yeah.
make me sad. But there's enough you could.
How many books
stretch
are
it a
there
little
in the
bit.
series?
So there's one full length book, and the rest are novellas. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 novellas.
Gotcha.
The first 4 are novellas. 5th book is a book. I don't know if 6 and 7 are books or novellas.
Okay.
Those might be full length books too, because she's gotten better at whatever it is.
Yeah. Nice.
What the heck is the name of the show? Come on, Mark Clark, you're letting me down.
Murderbot? Oh, the show within the show. Yeah. The problem is if you Google Murderbot show, it just types up the show.
And I have the audiobook, so I can't I can't pull up the ebook and do, control find. It's fun. I'm looking forward to it. I enjoyed it. And so far, it seems pretty darn faithful to the books.
Yeah. Cool. That's good.
I loved his line where it is my job.
Yeah.
His awkwardness is great. And the eye contact episode, that whole focus on eye contact, it's from the books. They definitely lengthened that, they're stretching it a little bit because the book is really short.
Yeah.
Because it's a tiny novella, but I think it's been really fun. I'm really excited to see where it goes. Yeah.
Yeah. I was intrigued. I liked it a lot, and I was
Sanctuary Moon. Okay, I just needed the one word. Sanctuary. Thanks, Mark Clark.
nice.
The rise and fall of Sanctuary Moon. Yeah, there was one scene in the trailer that made me think maybe they're doing both. But every other scene from the trailer has mostly just been book one stuff because it's all on the same desert planet. Maybe they end the series by starting book 2 and they don't finish it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's doesn't really matter either because I'm sure it's going to get renewed because it's gotten quite a bit of buzz. I've heard a lot of people kind of excited about it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Oh, I also really liked the other actor that is the augmented human guy. I thought he was good.
Oh, he was good, yeah.
Forget his name, but
He was weird. Almost as weird as the robot.
that was great.
The next episode should be fun. There's going to be some action in it.
Okay.
And I hope it ends. I hope it's not just action. I hope it ends with a different scene after the action, which could be quite fun. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints so far. It's a pretty faithful adaptation, and the more that Apple TV makes, I think they might be the best streaming service right now.
Yeah. They've been the most consistently good, yeah. For sure.
They're quite impressive.
Which I never thought I'd say because I hate Apple as a company.
I thought that this episode was going to take a whole lot longer, but we're sub 3 hours, and I'm out of things to say.
I mean, that's still pretty decently long time.
I know, but we had 10. It's because none of you guys watched. It's because none of us watched The Last of Us, and none of you guys watched Andor, so we couldn't talk about it.
Yep.
But anyway, next week.
I did want to watch Andor, though. I'll get to it eventually.
Next week on the show, Murderbot episode 3.
Yeah.
The Last of Us episode 6, if anyone is still watching that. I'm not. And more rehearsal. I think there's 2 more episodes of that, right? There's 6 episodes of that. And if we choose to accept it, if we choose to watch it on opening weekend, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2. The final Dead Reckoning.
Problem with that is I would want to go see it with my wife, and she hasn't seen the rest of them, so we'd have to like binge. We haven't seen a movie in so long, bro.
She hasn't seen any of them?
I think she's seen the first one. It's been a while.
Can we get some rocks in the chat for that Martina girl, please? Yeah, maybe they'll set the precedent for the faithful adaptation.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I mean, Silo had some changes.
The reason I think they're combining the two groups, the two scientist groups, is because the group in book 2, they are all part of a polyamorous family. Which is kind of a common theme in a lot of sci-fi stuff like this. They're like, it's the future. They replicate due to convenience or necessity, not out of love or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
The Mission Impossible ones, Final Destination, Mission Impossible, apparently.
Yes.
Haven't seen any of them? Martina.
I think she's seen the first one.
She just said, "Oh, I have not seen any of them," but there's a lag, so I see it pop up on YouTube before I can pull up the comment.
Okay, well, maybe I'll have to just go see it with you.
Yeah, we can go on a bro date.
Unless you
also, Lilo and Stitch comes out next week too.
6 Mission Impossible movies with me this week, Martina.
Also, yeah, when is Mom coming to town? I can't even remember. I should probably have it in my schedule of like, oh, hey, when is my entire week gonna get messed up because I have to spend time with family.
It'll be the second week in June, so another month from now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I normally wait and see movies on cheaper to watch Tuesdays the week after, but I think it might be worth seeing Mission Impossible opening weekend. It's Tom Cruise, baby. It's not going to be bad. There is, in fact, not an airplane in the first movie. Fallout is the one with Henry Cavill. That's a good one. So, Mission Impossible is not your jam. Bond track last year, though. So about 3 years ago, it was right before I started doing YouTube. Amazon had every single Bond film on Amazon Prime for free, and I went through and watched because I'd seen a few of them here and there. I'd seen a couple of the old ones. I'd seen most of the new ones, you know.
Yeah.
But I went through and watched all of them chronologically. It was a wonderful experience. It was like going to a museum. It was like going to a filmmaking museum. And what was so fascinating about it, especially watching them all close together too, is you got to watch generations of filmmaking trying to make the same movie. And you got to see how filmmaking changed throughout the decades of this is how we make a Bond movie now. And it's so funny, you know, to see the changes, you know, how it starts off serious and then it goes through kind of like a silly phase in the 80s. And then in the 90s, it goes into an overly serious ending and unintentionally funny phase, you know, and it was a really fascinating case study that I had lots of thoughts on when I experienced it. And now I don't remember any of my profound things, and I should have made like a YouTube video, but I didn't have a YouTube channel. It would have been a really good thing to record my experience watching all of the Bond movies in order. Dalton is
Dalton,
my favorite Bond too, man. Although my second favorite Bond is the one who only got one movie. Why can't I remember his name? It's the one where he gets married. I thought he was a fantastic Bond, but Timothy Dalton
I
was.
thought it was Sean Connery got married. He gets married in the show.
Nope. What show?
Or
In the show?
in the no, there was one. Okay.
David, you're about to look really
you're
dumb
right.
on stream. Don't say things you can't back up.
I could have sworn it was Sean Connery that got married into, and his wife gets shot in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
While they're driving away.
It happens in between Sean Connery.
Huh.
So Sean Connery left. He gets recast for one movie, and then they bring Sean Connery back for one movie, and then retire him and replace him with my least favorite Bond. I am spacing on names, but it's on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and it's George Lazenby. He got one Bond movie, and he was fantastic. He was, and then Sean Connery returns in Diamonds Are Forever, and then he's replaced with Roger Moore, and Roger Moore is my least favorite Bond. I didn't like him. And then Timothy Dalton only got 2 movies, and those are 2 of the best Bond movies of all time. And Goldfinger, probably the best James Bond movie. It is wonderful.
Good.
It's definitely the best Bond theme song. And the second best is the Beatles, the Live and Let Die.
Yeah.
He got a little fat. I don't know. Roger Moore never convinced me. I think he looked the part. I don't think he was a good actor, and so I don't think he was a good Bond. Yeah, it's on His Majesty's Secret Service with George Lazenby. He gets married, and then she gets killed at the end of the movie.
That's crazy. I distinctly remember that.
See, even the audience is telling you you're wrong, David.
I distinctly remember being Sean Connery.
Well, you distinctly are an idiot.
I watched it when I was a kid, so it's been years. Huh. That's crazy.
If you're talking about George Lazenby, this is not true. He got screwed. George Lazenby wanted to do more, and they replaced him with bringing back Sean Connery. He was pretty upset about it because he loved the role. No, that is not true, Mark. I will fight you on this. They told him he was going to be in the next one, and then replaced him. Like it was pretty scummy, actually, what happened to George Lazenby. I don't know where you're getting that information from, but I've watched a couple documentaries. So,
yep.
David was replaced with another.
Apparently.
In his documentary, I don't know which documentary you watched, man. Maybe we watched 2 competing documentaries, but Desmond Q, yeah, Q's great. Was he in all of them? Obviously not in the in Daniel Craig era, but did he make it all the way through Die Another Day? He was like in a lot of Bond films, and he was always great. The same actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, Q was great, and they had the same run of M for a while. Yeah, Desmond. Man, when did he stop? Got to pull up his IMDb. When was the last? I know he was in some of the Pierce Brosnan ones. Did he make it all the way through? He was in GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, The World Is Not Enough. I don't think he made it to the last one, did he? He didn't make it to the worst Bond movie of all time, Die Another Day. Who plays Q in Die Another Day? Because Q appears in Die Another Day. I think that's when he died, right? Let's see. Yeah, he's replaced with John Cleese in Die Another Day. He was fine. I do like some John Cleese. I don't know if he's good for the role, but
It's a good actor.
dude, I loved Lazenby. But yes, the point of the story was Timothy Dalton is the best Bond. I like the Bond movies. Is Goldfinger? Oh man, it's been a while now. Goldfinger, which number was that? That was number 3. Yeah, is that the one? The one it's either, I think I'm 90% sure it's Goldfinger. It's one of the first 3 movies. The opening scene of the movie is he's in some like paradise, tropic place, gathering information, and a lady comes to smooch him, and it zooms in on her eyeball, and he sees in the reflection of her eyeball a bad guy sneaking up behind him, right, with a knife, I think. And his response, I don't, maybe he was unarmed. I think the bad guy was unarmed because he goes for a punch.
Yeah.
But he sees the reflection of the bad guy in the lady who's trying to smooch him. And his response to the situation is he spins her around and she gets decked in the face by the bad guy. And then he tosses her aside and takes on the other. It's such a good scene. I'm like 89, 92% sure that that's the opening scene in Goldfinger. And it's the best movie.
I don't remember. I know I've seen Goldfinger, but
it was his agent that told him to turn it down. Maybe it was his agent that screwed him. It wasn't a good situation. He was given bad information or pressured into it, but he wanted to do more, and he is so. If you know his story, he was so good at acting. That he tricked everyone into thinking that he was an actor. Because he wasn't. He was a model. And he auditioned for James Bond and convinced them that he was an actor. Isn't that crazy?
wow.
I love Honor Her Majesty's Secret Service is like one of my top 5 favorite Bond films. And then easily the 2 Timothy Dalton ones. And then, honestly, it wasn't the best run, but Casino Royale. I really like Casino Royale. But yeah, Goldfinger and I didn't love Thunderball. That was the one with the big underwater sequence. They tried to one-up Goldfinger, and it was just kind of cheesy. I can't. There's so many that kind of mesh together.
Yeah.
But there are some good ones. So, Octopussy, such a great name. Yeah, Roger Moore had a couple good ones. Octopussy was pretty good. There was another. Moonraker's ridiculous. I think it was for. I'm not 100% sure. I think I really liked For Your Eyes Only. Which one had what's his face as the bad guy? A View to a Kill. that was Christopher Walken as the bad guy. It is horrible. It is so ridiculous, man. Diamonds Are Forever that's the one where he does Chinese face, right? Where he goes undercover as a Chinese man.
Oh,
It
no.
is so good. He does yellow face. It was a wild time. So how many of these have you watched? Maybe we could recreate the series by
we really should. I've only seen
having you watch all of them.
I've only seen like
ranking
5 or 6 of them.
Because it wouldn't be genuine if I did it again. But I want to watch them again with someone else. Maybe we should do that. I know the Ingram Exa wanted to do a James Bond series with me too, and then we got really busy. So
that would be fun.
He's Japanese. Sorry, it wasn't. Sorry, I'm sorry. He does Japanese face, still yellow face.
Yeah.
David, yeah, we should do a Bond series. That would be fun.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I think I've only watched. Well, let's see. I've watched all the Daniel Craig ones except for the last one. I never watched that one.
No Time to Die.
I never watched No Time to Die. 1, 2,
it's pretty
3,
bad.
4. I watched Die Another Day. That's the one. Whenever someone says Diamonds Are Forever, I think Die Another Day because of that scene where he's like spilling diamonds on top of Halle Berry's.
Where he puts diamonds in her belly button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was so just silly. I think I've watched one of the other Pierce Brosnan ones. Maybe
Pierce Brosnan had Goldeneye's fantastic.
Or Goldeneye, yes. I've seen Goldeneye.
And then they just get progressively
I've
sillier.
seen The Man with the Golden Gun. I've seen Goldfinger. And I've seen On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but I swore that
you thought it was Sean Connery.
That's weird. That's wild. I think
I really like You Only Live Twice as well.
Yeah.
And then The Man with the Golden Gun is one of my favorite Roger Moore ones. That one was actually pretty dope.
But yeah, we should watch them again. That'd be fun.
There's one. Okay, there's also one with Tevye in it from Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh yeah.
Yes. What's his actual name? It's also got Jaws in it, which is one of the worst Bond villains of all time.
Yeah. Iconic though.
I hit the wrong key and I typed in Diddler on the Roof.
Oh no! Please tell me that's not a real thing.
I didn't hit enter. It's still in the search bar. Okay, which Bond? It's For Your Eyes Only. The one that one. I remember correctly. I did really like For Your Eyes Only. There's a really cool because I was into rock climbing when I was a kid because my friend's dad was way into rock climbing and he let us use all of his expensive gear and he taught us how to use a Prusik knot to climb up a rope. And in that movie, he uses that in an emergency situation to climb up a rope. He pulls off his shoestrings and ties a Prusik knot onto the rope and uses it to scale the cliffside. And I was like, I know how to do that. It's super freaking cool. That was my friend's dad's favorite Bond movie because of that scene, and he taught us how to do it, and he made us watch the movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was The Pains.
Yep.
So, anyway, Diddler on the Roof is a kid's book. Not again. What are you talking? When has this happened before?
Yeah.
Tevye, the fiddler for your eyes only. The diddler for you. Oh no. All right.
Oh, no.
We'll see you guys next week. It's been 3 hours, and it's been a lot of fun. David, we need to record more comic book stuff because I'm catching up now because I'm finally making videos again.
Yeah, I forgot where we left off. Which ones haven't we filmed yet? But
we are on Ultimate Iron Man.
Oh yeah. I had things to say about that, but then it's been so long, I forgot. So
okay.
To see.
Well, we'll see you guys next week. Let me know if you want to go on a date with me and watch Mission Impossible.
Yep.
We don't need our wives. We can have a man date. Get on it, comic book man boy.
Yep.
Careful, there goes the money. No, we don't have to buy any more comics. We just need to read the ones that we already bought.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Evil's Bane. It's been fun having you in chat.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If it's true, please take a minute to subscribe to the channel, and you can join us along for the ride. And if you pay me, I'll try to be more entertaining, so please consider joining Patreon and getting your name in the credits with pride.
I'd buy that for $1.